6:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Texans behind two defensive touchdowns on the night, a sack fumble recovery, and then a touchdown pick six routed the Steelers 30-6 and get their first road playoff win in franchise history to wrap up Wild Card weekend. Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud threw for 250 yards, a touchdown, as well as an interception, and fumbled 5 times, losing 2 of those fumbles. The Texans defense smothered the Steelers offense in what could have been Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL, allowing just 175 yards of total offense. Wide receiver Christian Kirk caught 8 of 9 balls for 144 yards and a touchdown, and rookie running back Woody Marks rushed for 112 yards and a score in the win for the Texans. The divisional playoff round is now set for next weekend. On Saturday, it's the Bills at Broncos at 3:30. Then in the nightcap, it's 49ers at Seahawks at 7. And then on Sunday, it's the Texans at Patriots at 2 o'clock. And then the nightcap in the NFC, it's the Rams in Chicago facing the Bears at 5:30. And in college football news yesterday, Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt officially signed with LSU. Per On3's Pete Nakos, Leavitt was in Knoxville late last week, but opts to sign with LSU instead. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into your Tuesday morning on 104.5 The Zone. Good morning. And welcome in to Ramon and Will. It is cold outside. We've got takes that are so hot they'll warm you up inside. The Texans are a wagon, and the Steelers are out. What's next for Mike Tomlin? How dangerous is Houston? We'll dive into that here in hour number 1. How would you sell the Titans to top coaching candidates? Ramon Foster is going to step into the shoes of the Titans search committee and sell all of you like you're all John Harbaugh. So congratulations. You've all won a Super Bowl as a head coach. VolQuest Austin Price joins us at 8:20. Tennessee still needs a quarterback. Sam Leavitt off the board. Bo Prabula off the board. A lot of people off the cliff panicking about it. We'll dive into that. Steve Palazolo of the 33rd team will join us as well at 9:20. Your thoughts throughout the morning at 615-737-1045. Good morning, Ramon Foster. Condolences on your Steelers, who we'll talk more about coming up here in a few minutes.
We talked about this, though. We knew what it was going into it. So good morning, though, man. Traffic was heavy this morning, man. It almost, I ain't going to say didn't almost make me late, but it was way more congested for my liking on a Tuesday morning. It always trips me out. Mondays I always felt like would be the busiest days. I still think people choose to either go to work late or there's that a 3-day weekend that people choose to take Mondays off. Pretty wild. By the way, my youngest this past weekend was like, I don't have school on Monday. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He had MLK confused for this upcoming week. Right?
That's tough. Yeah, the calendar's so stop and start over the first 2 months of the year between President's Day, MLK Day. Obviously, not bad things to celebrate and to honor, but I imagine as parents, you respectfully to kids everywhere, you get them out of the house, they're back in a routine, and then all of a sudden the routine changes. Then you get them back in a routine in a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden the routine changes. And before you know it, you got to plan a spring break trip, and then you're out of the house for a week or a week and a half for for spring break.
Yes, which is pretty wild, man. And not only just that, since we live in Tennessee in this weird weather path that we have also, you know what also stops it too? This time last year, we had a crazy snowstorm. So we get them.
That's right.
I feel like the last 2 years, we've gotten the kids back into school, and then the first full week, snow, and then they're out for like 8 straight days.
Yeah, that's rough.
Not this year, though. So, yeah, that's been the conversation we've had at our house a little bit. It's like there's no snow, there's no ice, there's no anything right now. So, yeah, take your bus to school.
That's why teachers and parents are the toughest of all.
No doubt about it. We got a long basketball trip this evening, too, man. I'm kind of want to question the basketball coach and be like, hey, on a Tuesday, we got to go all the way to like Crossville, I think, too. So,
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a long way to go.
On a Tuesday, dog. So we'll see how your boy feel in the morning. Plus, I got my other work job I got to do while on the road today, too. So it's going to be fascinating to see how I work in a truck today.
No off season for Ramon Foster.
None. But we enjoyed this, though. We could be, as my mom would always say, Will, we could be digging ditches.
That's absolutely right. Mike Garafolo yesterday of NFL Network says, as we wait for John Harbaugh to finalize his interviews, sources say he likes what he sees in the Titans. Cam Ward, $100 million plus in cap space, high picks, new stadium, GM Mike Borgonzi. He adds, not saying he's going to Tennessee, just that for now, I expect them to be firmly in the mix. Are you surprised, Ramon, at how legit the Titans appear to have of a chance at former Ravens head coach John Harbaugh?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised that people, national media outside of Nashville, Tennessee, are surprised that he's considering it.
You think it makes sense?
I do think it makes. We had this conversation yesterday. I was just, or was it Friday? It was brought up about Harbaugh. Two destinations were the Giants and the Falcons. And I said, well, where did this come from? This came from a New York outlet, a beat writer or whoever he was at the time, somebody that was New York based. And I was just saying to myself, well, that's what they also want to paint to you. They will have the loudest voices in this hiring process right here when it comes down to news about John Harbaugh, their want for John Harbaugh moving forward. I'm genuinely shocked that people are surprised by it. I think a lot of people will view Nashville as this small town still. And I'll say this part of it, too. I don't think people understand the realignment of what the Titans front office is attempting to do right now with Borgonzi and Chad, and also, I guess in a sense, Miss Amy Adams-Strunk being kind of backed away from the process of dealing with the football side of things. So I don't think the masses understand that. So I'm shocked that everybody else is shocked.
I think it's fair. And I think on the surface level, it really does make sense. I think you also look at the other options out there, and there's not a slam dunk quarterback situation that is head and shoulders above Cam Ward of the Titans, other than the one that John Harbaugh just left.
I think the worst gig of them all, which is why it's confusing why they were surprised about the Titans. The worst gig to me personally, I think, is Arizona.
Oh, see, I don't think Arizona's that bad.
You don't think Arizona's that bad?
No, I think they lost so many one-score games this year that they were close. Why do you think it's bad?
Because of Kyler.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the only team in that situation with kind of a lame duck quarterback making probably way too much money.
But then you got to go through a dead year, basically, if he's a lame duck quarterback.
Potentially.
And
depends on how much that matters to you, winning right away.
I think it does in today's world of college coaches.
Right.
But here's what
not
college coaches.
Yeah, I was gonna
my gosh. Of NFL coaches, like it's transitioning to where they will get rid of somebody quick. Carolina did it with Matt Rule. We saw the Giants do it real fast, too. Heck, Arizona just did it again. Pete Carroll was the one and done.
The Bidwells have been consistent in having a lack of patience.
Exactly. And if I got to go in and deal with attitude Kyler Murray, who's stuck in his ways, who's a seasoned quarterback, who's accomplished now also in this league, and try to convince him that, hey, we need to either change our offensive style, we need to change your commitment to the football team and to your craft. I think that's just a huge hurdle to get over for a coach that may be willing to shift and change everything about that they do. So that's the only reason I say, like, to me, Vegas has the ability to go get their quarterback. Like, I view Kyler not as a bad person, but as a big red flag when it comes down to how I manage and move about my football business with him at quarterback.
Yeah, for me, it's Vegas. As bad as Vegas has been, and with the amount of coaches that they have tried to bring in to fix it, with 4 permanent head coaches over the last 9 seasons, and now Pete Carroll becoming the 5th permanent head coach in the last 9 seasons. They're hiring their 6th now in 10 years.
Yeah.
Just the amount of dysfunction and the amount of turnover there is alarming.
Yeah.
You think things are bad here? It's not even close to how bad it's been in Vegas.
I'm optimistic about the Vegas job. I just think it's moldable, more moldable than, I'll say, Arizona.
Has been for a lot of guys, and they haven't molded it.
This is true, too, but with this cycle, and, of course, the involvement of Tom Brady, I guess, plays a part in it, too. I don't know what that means. It just seems to me like I'd much rather be in Vegas doing this work, and I love Arizona, too, the state.
Yeah, me too.
But
me too.
I think I'd much rather be there doing this than I would in Arizona.
Mike Garafolo and other NFL media folks also say, and also the Atlanta Falcons say yesterday, that John Harbaugh has also completed an interview with Atlanta. His first formal interview since he was fired by the Baltimore Ravens last week. Sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter that Harbaugh has been conducting preliminary and extensive phone calls with the New York Giants, Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, Las Vegas Raiders, and Arizona Cardinals. Chris Mara, the Giants' senior personnel consultant, told The Athletic on Monday that he had an informal meeting with Harbaugh at his house on Sunday. Of course, Harbaugh, 12th most wins by a head coach in NFL history. With 193, guided the Ravens to a Super Bowl title in 2012, NFL Coach of the Year in 2019. The Falcons' conversation with John Harbaugh was a virtual one, Garafolo adds, with Matt Ryan and the group that's been conducting their search. Chris Mara met with him in person, says it is a process and it's underway, still some runway to go. So we are starting the first drive of this game, so to speak. Nobody's in the red zone yet. I would argue maybe no one's even crossed the 50 yet. We are still working out if we can put together some drives for some of these teams with John Harbaugh.
You know what I've heard about these processes. I lean back and seeing that he went to Atlanta first. Is I was told about these processes is watch who teams bring into the building last. Those are the ones that you really put your eye on when it comes down to who they're serious about.
And he's not stepped foot in any buildings yet.
He hasn't. But the process I was told is just watch who goes into the building last when it boils down to where the coach wants to go and also who the team wants to hire.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like getting the last visit for a recruit in college.
Exactly the same process.
Okay.
To be quite honest with you, I was shocked that he had already knocked out the Atlanta interview. I didn't have that on my radar. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Get to know you is what it probably sounds like they had. Because I thought he said he'd wait it is next week. Now, I didn't know he was going to be starting on a Monday to get this process going. Not that Atlanta has any reason not to want to get it going as fast as they possibly can, but I didn't see Harbaugh being this early into the race for Atlanta.
615-737-1045 is our number. Live for the 1045 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. We'll react to the game last night. Texans and Steelers. How legit are the Texans' Super Bowl chances in this postseason? And what's next for Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers after this? Tuesday morning on Ramon and Will, starting off with NFL reaction. Texans and Steelers last night, not much of a football game. 615-737-1045, how you jump in. Texans 30, Steelers 6. I'm going to be honest, this game was boring. I love football.
Yeah.
I'm on the record that obviously boring football is better than most sports at their best.
Yeah.
So I'm not complaining. But that is a credit to the Houston Texans defense, Ramon, and what they did last night to a Steelers offense that I thought would have more momentum with the return of DK Metcalf than they really got.
Oh, my gosh. That's where it started at. To be quite honest with you, that's where this game's nosedive started at, in my personal opinion. You go out with the Steelers getting the ball first. Jaylen Warren's running the ball efficiently as you ever could against that team that I think still has one of the best defenses out when you look at what Houston is. We knew this going into it. I thought the game plan was run at the edge guys, and they did. They hit them early. They were getting extra yards. They got a first down or two. And next thing you know, they decide to, what you usually do in these situations, you soften them up. You can have them creep down into the box. The defense creeps down into the box, and you want to hit them for a dagger. That dagger got just dropped down into the fire pit by DK Metcalf brick hands. It was. I'm talking about he had his DB beat. I'm talking about on a perfect route. Who was it? I think it was golly, what is his name? Not Will Leonard. No, Derek Stingley. He was on Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley turned his hips, eyes inside. DK Metcalf went out towards the sideline, and Aaron Rodgers threw a dot to him right in his hands. And it just, I'm talking about, if there was ever a description of what brick hands look like, it was that catch last night, or non-catch, man. It was a drop that was bad. Not only just that, so DK starts with that. And here's the thing, too, like that I enjoy about teams that efficiently run those quick outs when it comes down to their offense. Like, we don't want to run the football, we'll throw a quick out wide receiver screen. You got to have wide receivers that are willing, that want to block. And on that play, soon after DK missed the wide open catch, I think it was 2 or 3 plays later, the next series, they decided to get the ball up and going again. And they're throwing a quick wide receiver screen, and is over by DK Metcalf. You have the DB from Houston, Petrie, come down and just smash DK. And I'm thinking to myself, DK, that's 2. That's 2 big negative plays that you could have, 1, caught the football on, 2, you're a cyborg when it comes down to your body type. Like, you can block Petrie. Like, that, you one-on-one versus him, I'm taking DK all day long. Well, if that wasn't the case, you got to have willing participants, man, that want to see their teammates do good and not just be in the way. And I felt like last night, DK's mishaps and drops were the reasons why this game took a nosedive. Aaron Rodgers didn't go back to him at that point.
No,
I think it's because he was a non-factor. He was Aaron Rodgers, I don't think, went back to him until like the fourth quarter.
11-point advantage after a Sheldon Rankins big man touchdown and return for 6 in this game. And the fact that Ramon, a 17-6 lead early in the fourth quarter felt insurmountable tells you everything you needed to know about this football game. Houston held Pittsburgh to 2 of 14 on third down. They forced 6 punts. They shut down 2 really good drives short of the 10, resulting in 2 Chris Boswell field goals. So they never even really got into goal-to-go situations. Aaron Rodgers was sacked 4 times, and he doesn't have the same mobility he used to be able to get away from a good pass rush and use his athleticism as the equalizer. He fumbled twice. He lost one of them. Under pressure, Aaron Rodgers was just 5 of 13 for 47 yards. What was Houston doing so well that got the Steelers off rhythm? Or was this more about Pittsburgh's just built-in lack of ability or explosiveness on offense?
I got to start with giving Houston credit. I'm talking about all the credit. They were able to rush 4 and drop 7. You do that in the pro level, with DBs that are as disciplined. I'm texting my brother-in-law last night as we're watching the game. By the way, Jonathan Schaefer came over last night. I call him by his first name.
Jonathan,
today.
Wow.
Jonathan came through. So we're watching the game together. My brother-in-law texted me. He was like, man, this defense is concise in their movements. Houston had no wasted movement whatsoever. If a pass was thrown to the outside, they had guys. They had a linebacker and DBs on the scene to make tackles. If the football was ran up the middle, you had Henry To'oTo'o or Azeez Al-Shire, both on their spots, disciplined, hitting their gaps where they were supposed to. And defensively, eventually what happened was the dam cracked as far as their inability to protect Aaron Rodgers at that point, too. At that point, he's a statue. That's why I also believe, like, the mobile quarterback that at least utilizes his legs enough to cause defenses to be threatened by it is the best quarterback to have. You got to have somebody that is able to be a threat outside of the pocket. And last night, Aaron Rodgers wasn't. You saw the all-pro talent that Will Anderson Jr. had, and not just him. He and Daniil Hunter. Now, here's the other part of it, too. I thought this game could be either a blowout or, which it turned into be, or it could be a rock fight. And for 3.5 quarters, it was a rock fight because the Steelers' defense can answer the call just the same.
They were making classic Steelers plays, especially at home.
C.J. Stroud had 5 fumbles.
He is the second player since fumbles were first recorded in 1991 to have 5 or more fumbles in a game and win, joining Eli Manning in Week 16 of 2007.
And I just want to give a PSA to the people that listen to us. We spoke about like what the Steelers defense was. This is why I was kind of alerting like people about Arthur Smith. You don't want this offense. This offense is good when it's got all the weapons that is needed, like any other team. But minus Darnell Washington, that offense is moot.
And that's crazy that a 320-pound tight end can have that big of an impact on an entire offense.
Well, it's Arthur Smith's X factor. I think that's why he loved Kyle Pitts so much, because of the X factor of a matchup that he could be. I mean, he should have loved him even more so. Or Bijan Robinson. Like,
his quarterbacks didn't love him enough. Maybe.
Exactly. I think that's what it was. But like the way Arthur Smith runs that offense, it is so close to the line of scrimmage, and you need somebody that can plow over you or make the big passes. Now, Arthur Smith has nothing to do with DK Metcalf's inability to catch the football or get open. Or the Steelers don't, be quite honest with you, have good enough wide receivers. They got Adam Thielen and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, okay. There's just not anyone who really scares you. And this was my issue when they made the George Pickens trade after bringing in DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
You finally had a 1-2.
Yeah, you did.
And it's like Pittsburgh took 1 step forward and 2 steps back at wide receiver this past offseason. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it took them a while. At first, they were not the same team as always because their defense struggled out of the gates. The offense led the way, and then things kind of met in the middle. And at the end of the day, Ramon, they became the same team that they usually are. Mm-hmm. They are good enough to get in the dance. They're good enough to beat some good teams.
Yeah.
They are not consistent enough to go on a winning streak when games matter the most.
Yeah.
And that defense just didn't get any help last night. I mean, I think the injury to TJ Watt will always have an impact on the way this Steelers season ended. And I think even last night, that's not a full strength. I know he's full on the injury report and all these things. TJ Watt is not at the height of his full powers.
Right.
You have Cam Hayward at the twilight of his career, who's still playing really well.
Right.
But can't totally carry you. Like, the only way the Steelers, with that kind of effort on offense, are going to win this game last night was by scoring either a special teams or defensive touchdown.
Mm-hmm. So, and neither one, I mean, they were close.
They were close.
They were close.
And to that point, like, again, that's who Pittsburgh is. It's just the bar is so high for that defense to operate on any given night to beat teams like Houston.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, man, the offense has just got to do a little bit to help out.
And it's not there. And here's the issue that they have. That team is built of, like, winning Super Bowls is the way I've kind of seen it, is the way teams are somewhat built, is there's a decent small amount, about 10% of old on your team. You got about 40% of young, and then in the middle is everybody else. There's no middle class on Pittsburgh's team as far as age goes. It's really old.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
And it's really young.
I like that.
I'm telling that it's a little bit of old. You need some 7 to 9 year guys, and you need a whole lot of youth that's in about years 3 to 5 to win a Super Bowl is kind of the way I see it. Like, look at the teams that are winning it, like, for the most part. Like, when Kansas City got knocked out, I felt like they were young on the offensive line and almost, in other places at the edge positions and stuff like that. Like, that's what you're looking for. That's why I somewhat question what New England's going to be capable of doing with Drake May, because it's a good bit of young on that team,
and not
too.
just him, right?
Yeah.
They're playing almost as high a percentage of rookies as the Titans are.
You see what I'm saying? So that's where Pittsburgh is too, and that's why I would say Kevin Colbert, love the GM that he is, but like missing on first rounders or second rounders from time to time, like that matters. That's why, in my personal opinion, that's why the draft matters. That's why whenever this Titans team hire a new head coach, like being able to trust in Mike Borgonzi to draft and put the right pieces together, and also the retention record of the players that you bring in too.
Yeah, sure.
That's huge because those guys understand what the coach wants and what the team should look like. And right now, Pittsburgh's got a ton of young guys or new guys or outsiders that hadn't been in that situation right there. And then, be quite honest with you, it's been that way for a few years too.
Well, then let's to prove your point here, since they drafted T.J. Watt and Juju Smith-Schuster in 2017, these were the first 3 picks made each season by the Steelers. 2018, Terrell Edmonds, James Washington, Mason Rudolph.
Nothing. Mason's
the only one that's still contributing.
Yeah.
2019, Devin Bush, Deontay Johnson, Justin Lane.
Jay Lane. Jay Lane didn't even really play.
2020, Chase Claypool, Alex Highsmith, Anthony McFarland Jr. Didn't have a first-round pick in 2020.
Highsmith cooked.
2021, Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth,
Pat.
And Kendrick Green on the offensive line.
Out of the league, Kendrick is.
And then 2022, Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, DeMarvin
Leal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, it's Calvin Austin III and Connor Hayward who are the two that are contributing more into that. Chris Toledokun, now Chiefs legend.
The Super Bowl winner.
In 2022. So to prove your point, you're right. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, when you think about the quote-unquote middle class on their roster last season, look no further than A.J. Brown.
Bro.
And half of their offensive line between Jordan Mailata, Mekhi Becton, you'd say is probably towards the beginning of quote-unquote middle class. Lane Johnson is an older guy, and you have the top 10% veterans like Brandon Graham and a lot of that defense, but you also have Nakobe Dean, and you have Zach Bond, who's been through a couple of contracts. So I think it's a great way to look at it. And you look at the anatomy of Super Bowl roster, the Steelers don't have it. I want to say one more thing about Houston before we dive more into Mike Tomlin's future and where Pittsburgh goes next. Is Houston a legitimate Super Bowl contender at this point? Of the 4 teams that are left of the AFC, where would you put them in regards to the other ones and best chances to win the whole thing?
If Houston can figure out its center and quarterback exchange, then heck yes. Nico Collins going out with the concussion, I don't think much of it, but they got playmakers offensively that can run the football. CJ can be good with the football. The ball floated on him 1 or 2 times. He's had that issue, I feel like, since he's gotten in the league, the football floating on him from time to time. Well, I think who's left in there? Denver, Patriots.
So the Broncos are going to host the Bills.
Yep.
And the Patriots will host the Texans.
I got Texans.
Man, it's such an interesting year because the same questions I have about the Texans, I kind of have about everyone else, including the Bills with Josh Allen. Like, there's not a Mahomes or Brady. Like, we are really in the AFC in uncharted territory on quarterbacks that we totally trust this time of year. Surely C.J. Stroud's not going to play like that 2 times in a row.
No, cannot.
Because he hasn't all season.
No. And you know what's crazier, too, about them? Where did this run game come from?
Woody Marks is great last night.
They committed to it. I said to you beforehand, they did what Baltimore should have did in the second half against the Steelers.
112 rushing yards. That was Woody Marks' first career 100-yard game. And Christian Kirk, if he plays like that again in New England, they definitely have a chance. 144 yards for him on 8 catches last night.
At this point, with the reason that the Texans are in this position, I'm picking them to go to the AFC Championship.
I think they could absolutely win the whole thing. I think that defense is good enough to give you a chance every single time you step on the field. If that is what the offense looks like at its worst, and you still go to Pittsburgh and win 30-6, you can beat anybody on any given field on any given Sunday.
Yeah, you can.
That is a championship level defense. And I think, really, Ramon, you're looking at a team that is not too unlike who Philadelphia was last season.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And like, I'm trying to pull up their starting roster right now, though, too, defensively. But we'll think about what we talked about earlier, too, as far as, like, got to have the right amount of middle class on the team. Houston does defensively.
100% they do.
Defensively, Danielle Hunter's one of the most seasoned guys out there, still playing at a high rate. Will Anderson, beginning of middle class for himself. On the defensive line, they got Tongai, who's Sheldon Rankins,
who has been around since 2021.
Aziz is middle class right now as far as his age.
Yeah.
And Henry To'oTo'o is getting to that point. And then on the back end, you got elite young talent in the secondary that you don't have to worry about.
And Jalen Petrie is a fourth-year player at safety. Kamari Lassiter is a stud. Second-year corner, and Derek Stingley Jr. is entering his second contract phase of his career.
Exactly.
So, again, that's your quote-unquote middle class. Now, major questions on offense, and especially on the offensive line. You're starting a rookie left tackle. C.J. Stroud fumbled it 5 times last night. But that defense is always going to give you a chance to win.
Their defense versus Denver is, now that's a matchup.
I think Houston's had the best defense in the league since, like, Halloween.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's just that their offense is starting to make more explosive plays, make more highlight plays, and hold up their end of the bargain. It didn't last night. And then in a lot of ways, I mean, they still had a couple of explosives and have a 100-yard rusher and a 140-yard receiver.
And then you throw Danico Autry out there blocking passes last night with Aaron Rodgers. I forget about him.
Nashville native Derek Barnett off the edge as a backup edge rusher option. Like, they are loaded at all 3 levels of that defense.
Yeah, they are.
All right, let's talk about Mike Tomlin.
Whew. All right, let's do it.
5th consecutive playoff loss by double digits and 7th overall. Mike Tomlin did not sound like a guy last night who wants to coach much longer.
First time ever.
How do you feel about his future and where the Pittsburgh Steelers go next?
I think it's a wrap. I fought it. I didn't think that he would concede. Or I didn't think he would look like this in a game. Like, I thought the Steelers had a hard time on winning this football game against Houston. We talked about it. Like, yeah, we beat the Baltimore Ravens. Y'all go home and we help fire your coach, all that type of stuff. For my people who are Baltimore Ravens fans, listen.
First not awake yet. It's okay.
Yeah, it's still fine. But the way that team looked last night, the track record of losing 7 straight playoff games, also you lose at prime time at home inside of Pittsburgh, inside of Acrisure Stadium, Heinz Field. Yeah, I think the song has screeched. I think the wood floors got holes in them from you dancing to the same song. And I just think it's time for a newer voice in there. And just the consistency of being in this position is old now. And I the way I view this future and the fact that the biggest issue that he's going to have to face, in my personal opinion, that I think the rest of that division can handle, is you also got Harbaugh gone. This is your opportunity now to reset with knowing that still that division is up for grabs almost too.
Is there any world where John Harbaugh is coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2026?
No.
I agree.
There's a world, but no.
We're not going to live in that world.
No, we're not going to live in that world.
Yeah, I would still be surprised if Mike Tomlin got fired.
I'm not at this point.
I would not be surprised at all if he decided to take it to the house and they worked out some sort of deal and he got the ball rolling. Yesterday, asked about his future, he said, I'm not even in that mindset as I sit here tonight. I'm more in the mindset of what happened in this stadium and certainly what we did and didn't do, not a big picture mentality as I sit here tonight.
And you know what? That's how he's always been.
Fair enough.
That's him saying that is 100% real. Because he'll start today off if no breaking news comes out with a team meeting. He sets everybody up for their exit meetings. And he's always gone about this process. Like, he's very much in front of him type of guy.
Sure.
So I believe that. But watching his face, watching the demeanor of that team and how T.J. Watt has yet to have a playoff win in his career, I mean, there's a lot of that. And then it's the other side of it, too, as far as the team rebuild. Aaron's probably done. Cam Hayward's probably done. TJ Watt could walk away if he want to or demand a trade at this point too. You're not in a position to pick a top 10 quarterback. So where do you go? Will Howard as your quarterback right now? Mason Rudolph again? So. Right. Like there's a lot of.
Do you want Tua? Always in cold weather? Probably not.
And probably not.
I mean, Tua and Kyler Murray are both probably going to be out there.
Pittsburgh's not going to trade for those guys too. You know, and that's the other side of it. You got Jalen Warren's up for a contract. I mean, Darnell Washington's up for it. There's a lot of moving parts that have to be figured out before Coach Tomlin decide if he wants to come back, if it is his decision.
Ian Rappaport has been consistent reporting that Tomlin would not be fired, and if he didn't coach in 2026, it would be by his own choosing, perhaps to take a year off. We'll see. Fascinating situation. I think if you're a Titans fan, you're maybe hoping that job doesn't come open because I know there's a natural moment of transition and there are a lot of question marks on that roster.
Yeah.
But it's still Pittsburgh. In the same way that the Giants on paper, I don't think are as good of a job as the Titans and other teams, it's still New York. It's still a foundational landmark organization in the National Football League with good ownership, with a good front office. It's just a team that needs maybe a different song and dance to play in Acrisure Stadium moving forward. 615-737-1045 is our number. One other stat crazy for this game last night. The Houston Texans scored 2 touchdowns in this game. They are the first team since the Chicago Bears in 1940 who won 73-0 over Washington to score multiple defensive touchdowns and allow 0 touchdowns in a playoff game.
Dang.
So condolences to 1940 Washington fans if you were watching Washington football back then.
I mean, you can't have those records on your resume.
Crazy.
Yeah, you just can't allow that.
There was a coach that did something over the weekend that most coaches would probably have apologized for yesterday. I loved this non-apology that was given yesterday in the NFL. We'll hit that headline for you as we wrap up hour 1 coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, nobody, and I mean nobody likes dealing with a plumbing, HVAC, or any electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost you if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you do not need. When you call Hiller like I do, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly, and I promise you that they will do it. Most times, you'll set an appointment with them, and they will show up sooner. They'll at least alert you that, hey, we have an opening here, and we'd like to come to your house and go ahead and service you. They're just good, man. Their techs, always professional. They're very experienced, and they're always trustworthy. And they're all background and drug screened, too. Hiller's been in business, y'all, for over 35 years. They are family-owned and operated. One of the coolest things that they do, I told you about their techs. When their techs are on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech that is coming to your house and a link to track them in real time, so you're not sitting around wasting any time. Their motto is, and they've shown me this time and time again, happy you'll be or the service is free. If you're not satisfied with the work that Hiller does, guess what? They'll do all they can to make it right, or they'll just simply give you your money back, man. They are just that good and that honest. To learn more about Hiller or to book with them like I do, y'all, simply go to happyhiller.com.
Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number one. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, and Justin Hawkins. 615-737-1045. Major Tennessee quarterback news dropped yesterday, and none of it was necessarily great. So we'll dive into what's next for Tennessee at the quarterback position coming up in 10 minutes. Ramon, there was a great non-apology given yesterday.
I missed this one. Who you speak of,
I'm
man?
talking about Ben Johnson, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, who picked up a big win over the Green Bay Packers. And in a rant post-game in the locker room, was videoed as saying, bleep the Packers. Bleep them, bleeping hate those guys. He was asked about it yesterday. He said, this is a rivalry. And for the city of Chicago, Green Bay, it needs to be a rivalry. Good.
I'm here for this.
There's a rivalry that exists between those two teams, he adds, something that I fully recognize and I'm a part of. And yeah, I don't like that team. So George and I have talked, George McCaskey, the Bears chairman, and we're on the same page. Bears chairman George McCaskey notably insisted cursing not be aired when Chicago was on Hard Knocks in 2024. So they've talked, but apparently he's got his coaches back.
Good.
Because anyone in the Chicago Bears organization can rally around hating the Green Bay Packers.
As much of downtime they've had as a franchise as of late, they deserve to. Green Bay has run that division, or Minnesota's had their run at it. Like, yes, they deserve to talk their stuff. You know what I hate about sports, Will? I hate this as much as anything. We will, especially in football, pearl clutch to what somebody says. Oh, my God, you said what? But would want to see somebody tear somebody's head off on a crossing route, or watch a quarterback get suplexed into the ground, like powerbomb, like razor's edge into the turf, but don't say anything mean.
They'll say the game's gotten soft, and since you can't hit receivers over the middle anymore, the NFL is not the same product it used to be. Yeah,
I'm all for love. Okay, I love everybody that enjoys life. ELE, everybody love everybody. Will, okay, but when you cross those white lines on a competitive surface, it could be ping pong, it could be tennis, basketball,
Christmas Day.
Okay, it can be football, it can be badminton for all I care. You're gonna get this work. Is the way I view it. I'm Team Ben Johnson on this one, okay? And I know at some point he might become a villain about how he's going about this.
I think he became one over the weekend in Green Bay.
Good. Let the boy watch, okay?
Well, and I think, too, you have someone who has a baked-in understanding of NFC North rivalries, considering his background in Detroit.
I'm watching the game Sundays, right? The playoff games, and I'm watching with my guy, H, who's a big-time Titans fan. You know what? I was lightly looking, okay, Jacksonville, let's go. You know what he was as a Titans fan? Heck no. I hope they lose. And I hope their kids know they lost, too. Like, he didn't care about Jacksonville. It should be okay for Ben Johnson to get up there and say what he wants to. By the way, everybody wants access to, like, NFL locker rooms and behind the scenes. This is how coaches talk. If it ain't the coach, it's the players that are saying this. And like,
especially in traditional rivalries. And you played in a good amount of traditional rivalries yourself.
It's raw.
Including the one here between this professional franchise and your professional franchise.
Why do you think Pittsburgh celebrated so much on knocking Baltimore out the playoffs? Like, that matters, man. Like, this is how it should be. We should be able to hate each other's teams with being respectful on game day. Now, don't do what the Oakland Raiders used to do, or Las Vegas Raiders, and start fighting people and stuff like that. Like, we shouldn't leave with broken jaws.
And that was the one thing that Ben Johnson did say. He's like, now, the scuffle we had during the game, that can't happen. But also, bleep those guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, you know what I always say, you heard me say, if you don't like it, win.
It makes me happy. It warms my heart,
Yes,
this hatred,
does.
that we still, in a day and age where guys swap jerseys after games and everybody knows everyone on and off the field and works out together, and tight end university and
Come on, man.
OL masterminds and guys are working out with their rivals. It warms my cold heart this morning that we still have hatred in traditional NFL rivalries in the year of our Lord 2026.
This is it. I mean, there's more rivalries, I feel like, in high school football than we see even in NFL right now.
That's right.
Like, they hate each other way better than NFL teams do right now. That is one thing I will say I dislike, godly, about the portal, is we got guys that'll play for Tennessee and go to Kentucky. We got guys that'll be at Tennessee and go to Alabama. Alabama go to, like, I know what it is, but, like, the way it was once streamlined, or the history that you were taught on why you dislike that team, like, that's somewhat blurred a little bit these days.
And then those guys want to show up and sit courtside at their old team.
Dog!
Or even, you don't even have to go there. T. Higgins was sitting courtside with Bobby Mays at the Tennessee-Texas game last week.
I want to say to whoever gave up those tickets to him, I understand he's an NFL star, Pro Bowl,
Sure.
All-Pro, and stuff like that from
Oak Ridge
Knoxville.
High School, yeah. Right.
Put him in a suite.
Yeah.
Those should be reserved for guys that gave blood, sweat, and tears. If you like, I personally hadn't seen anybody have anybody offer me or run those tickets or you to the courtside seats. But here's T. Higgins courtside, and I know he's a Knox native. But what are we doing?
Yeah, fair enough.
Did you see Darius Slay?
Who?
Darius Slay this weekend?
Yeah, did you see that?
No, I didn't.
At the
Technically,
Eagles
he plays
game
for Buffalo, but was at the Eagles game in Philadelphia.
Sure.
in Philly.
Big play,
what
Slay.
are we doing?
He's not doing is what he's about to be doing.
615-737-1045 is our number. Sam Levitt is going to LSU. Bo Prabula is going to Virginia. What is next for Tennessee at quarterback? We'll talk about that next. What's up? It's Will Boulding. How's your home's heating performing? I'm here to tell you, if it's struggling to keep up, maybe you woke up today, you saw a 2 next to the temperature. You thought, heating system did not work overnight. Nothing worse than waking up and it's just freezing outside. Well, Lee Company has your back. Available 24/7, Lee Company's award-winning HVAC team will get the job done right. From repairs and tune-ups to full system evaluations and replacements, Lee Company is here to keep you cozy and comfortable against winter's chill. So contact Lee Company online at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com for professional heating service from the pros who have over 80 years of experience serving Middle Tennessee. Lee Company's been trusted since 1944. You've probably seen their fleet of vehicles driving around Middle Tennessee. They're available 24/7 to help you during this winter. Check them out online, leecompany.com for professional heating service. That's Lee Company, all you need.
7:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Texans, behind 2 defensive touchdowns, rout the Steelers 30-6 and get their first road playoff win in franchise history as the NFL wildcard weekend wraps up. Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud threw for 250 yards, a touchdown, as well as an interception, and fumbled 5 times, losing 2 of those fumbles. The Texans defense smothered the Steelers offense in what could have been Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL, allowing just 175 yards of total offense. Wide receiver Christian Kirk caught 8 of 9 balls for 144 yards and a touchdown, and rookie running back Woody Marks rushed for 112 yards and a score in the Texans' win. The divisional round playoff schedule now is set for next weekend. On Saturdays, Bills at Broncos at 3:30, and then it's 49ers at Seahawks at 7. On Sunday, it's the Texans at Patriots at 2 o'clock, and then the nightcap for the NFC, it's the Rams in Chicago facing the Bears at 5:30. And in college football news for Tennessee, 2 quarterback prospects off the board. Arizona State transfer quarterback Sam Leavitt officially signed with LSU yesterday, per Pete Nakos. And Bo Purbula is off the board as well. Leavitt in Knoxville late last week, opting to sign with LSU instead. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 of your Tuesday morning. Hope you're having a great start to the day. And glad you're with us here on Ramon and Will. He is the 11-year NFL veteran and Vol Network analyst, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins hitting all the right buttons. I'm Will Bowling. In 15 minutes, Ramon Foster steps in the interview room and starts to sell you as a prospective candidate on the Tennessee Titans. We've got ESPN.com and Dan Graziano also predicting where every coach will land. That we can get into coming up here in 15 minutes as well. Yesterday, a lot of news for Tennessee football, and none of it was particularly great in the transfer portal at quarterback. Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt is headed to LSU. Mm-hmm. Tennessee was in regular contact with him yesterday, according to On3's Pete Nakos. Hours after news broke that Leavitt had committed to LSU and Lane Kiffin, Tennessee was still at work trying to make a last-ditch offer and a final NIL plan for the Arizona State quarterback. That plan did not work. He did tell Miami he was not going there. From what's been reported out there, he did not tell Tennessee immediately that Tennessee was out. So it came down to LSU or Tennessee for Sam Leavitt. He is now off the board and headed to LSU. Let's start there, Ramon. Mm-hmm. How big of a loss is this for Tennessee? How big of a win is it for the LSU Tigers?
Is yet to be determined on what his play going to look like, but on the surface level, getting the number 1 portal quarterback is huge for you. It gives you a boost in the preseason that at least allows you some grace. It immediately, with a player that's that much experience, guys believe in also, and it's Lane Kiffin's guy. Lane Kiffin has struck on his quarterbacks as of late. We're talking about Jackson Dart. We're talking about Bo. No, not Bo Nix. We're talking about Trinidad Chambliss at this point, too. He's created a pathway for these guys to have NFL careers. And it looked like Sam Leavitt is on that same trajectory. Of course, with LSU expending so much money when it comes down to what Lane's going to be capable of, he's going to have weapons. Now, getting the offense, Sam Leavitt under center and playing, it's just a jolt, Will. It's for a guy that needs instant gratification when it comes down to his, I guess, move from Ole Miss to LSU. That's huge for them. Just in totality. Also, I would say this too, and I said it, and I've texted you guys about it, and I've been tempted to put it out on social media. It's also, I'll say this too, how you lost Sam Leavitt. The one that everybody said changed, and he's a better human, Lane Kiffin. He trolled you Vols fans because I knew that the jig was still there. I knew he was still him. He trolled you the entire weekend on him flying into Knoxville, letting you know that he was there to recruit Sam Leavitt and close the deal in Tennessee. On top of that, like it being connected to whenever he left also, like this to me was by far one of the wildest misbeliefs in a person when it came down that they changed. I know a lot of people love Lane, but this is why I'll never be a Lane Kiffin guy.
He's the same guy. I'll
never be.
He may have cleaned up some of his act.
It's the trolling
off the field, but at the end of the day, Lane Kiffin is the same guy he was when he
09.
yeah. When he was at Tennessee.
Yeah, he's the 09 guy still. He's personally probably changed a lot of stuff, but that's why I never could get with what he was. But like him going into Knoxville recruit, I got to give it to him. For a guy that want his guy, he went and took him. So kudos to him. Sucks for Tennessee if they really wanted Sam Leavitt, but yeah, that's the way he did it to me.
Well, I think it's unfortunate for Tennessee because you have college football playoff expectations the second Sam Leavitt walks into your building.
Yeah.
Just from his own presence, the play that he's going to give you. So it is absolutely a miss for Tennessee. Mm-hmm. There's no question about it. There's no coping that you're going to hear from me about this.
No.
It is a miss. It is a guy that I wanted. It is clearly a guy that Josh Heupel went all in for. We'll talk with Austin Price about maybe could Tennessee have started that process sooner and gotten to their full court press a little bit earlier, tried to get a sooner or quicker visit with him. We'll see. We heard the name Brendan Sorsby first. We also heard Sam Leavitt kind of at the same time. One thing's for sure, Tennessee needed to get to a second option in terms of scholarship quarterbacks in the transfer portal more quickly. So they brought in Bo Prabula, and they hosted him on a visit over the weekend. Appeared to be the favorite for the Vols. Well, yesterday, he commits to Virginia. From everything that's out there, we'll talk with Austin more about it. Sounded like if Tennessee really wanted Bo Prabula would have been a Tennessee Volunteer. Bo Prabula was not willing to wait around for Tennessee, and I don't blame him because he's got to have somewhere to play football in 2026. And Tennessee's sitting there waiting for Sam Leavitt, waiting for a Joey Aguilar court decision, which, by the way, is not sounding promising. You've got to get a spot because all of a sudden you wait too long for Tennessee, and then Joey Aguilar comes back, or Sam Leavitt decides, hey, I'm actually in after all. Well, then now Bo Prabula doesn't have anywhere to play legitimate college football in 2026. Where Tennessee goes next, Ramon, I think is fascinating. How comfortable are you, based off of what you saw from George McIntyre in the spring game, in limited reps, in a couple of games that were separated scores this season? How comfortable are you with George McIntyre, or maybe the true freshman Faison Brandon being the starting quarterback in 26?
I'm somewhat comfortable. More comfortable than I am uncomfortable is what I would say. I think he has the talent. To be quite honest with you, I was listening to Buck and them, and it was Bert going on a rant with Lucas yesterday. I think they were doing their SEC Minute yesterday. And Bert has a point. Like, I know we're at a point where we're watching teams playing the national championships that's got older rosters and stuff like that, high-paid rosters. Bert was somewhat mocking the Vols fans in a sense, and I thought it was hilarious and truthful, too. It's like, oh, you guys got to go to your 5-star quarterback. Oh, man. Like, that's the thing about it. He's been projected as George McIntyre as a guy that can play ball. That's why I do look at those young guys like George and also Faison, too. If you're going to be chasing new veteran after new veteran to be competitive, well, why in the heck did you recruit me for? Like, I look at George and know he's an athlete. Is he slender? Yes, absolutely. Can he sling it? Yeah, absolutely.
He definitely can.
And at what point do you start trusting in those guys? If you can trust a freshman right tackle and David Sanders Jr., what's the difference in a quarterback, right? Like, experience has to be had one way or the other. And that's kind of the way I view George McIntyre's situation of Faison Brandon moving forward. Too. Do I want the experience? Yes. Would I have taken Sam Leavitt? Yes. I'm not going hindsight on this thing, too. But what I say is this. How comfortable am I? Somewhat. Because, again, he's yet to do 12 games as a starter. He's yet to command the offense the way he does. But what he does know is a year of this offense, and he has the ability moving forward right now, if they don't go get a veteran quarterback, to build a rapport with his wide receivers and the offense in general. And the one part I like about him, too, George will run the ball.
He will.
He's a big athlete, is the way I view him, too.
He's a long athlete.
Yeah.
He needs to still probably add 10 to 15 more pounds
Got time.
going into next season. You 100% have time to be able to do that, but just to be able to run.
Yeah.
As much as I think he can athletically, to be able to take some of those hits and last over an entire season, he's going to have to still put on more muscle. And he knows that, and I think the Tennessee knows that.
And here's the thing, though, too. George from the state.
Mm-hmm.
George is from Middle Tennessee. Like, From my understanding, like he had some family ties to Vanderbilt too, but he chose to go to Tennessee.
His grandfather was also named George and coached at Vanderbilt.
Okay, perfect. What I'm saying is this. There's a sense of pride for guys that hold that chill for that home state like that in times like this. And I would also say, too, if I was George, I have a huge chip on my shoulder with the idea that they're trying to bring people in because you don't think I'm ready. And now, I get that. That's just the way college football works now. You got to have guys that are ready for those big moments. But I don't think anybody expected Georgia's quarterback to take a step the way he did this year, too, in limited play the year before.
And Gunnar Stockton.
Stockton, yeah.
I think in a lot of ways, you can draw some parallels between George McIntyre and Ty Simpson. The difference is that Ty Simpson had more time to sit at Alabama, but we as football people become very enamored with the new thing, especially a quarterback. And again, this is why you recruit high school quarterbacks, to have the opportunity to develop them within your system, throw them out there and see what they got. And at some point, you got to take a leap of faith to say, all right, let's see what we have. Now, that being said, you still need another scholarship quarterback. And it looks like Tennessee is going to probably have to go to the FCS level.
That's fine.
And try to find and recreate the magic that Ole Miss had with Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah.
That's not common. It is not easy to do, to find an FCS quarterback who is under-recruited, because quarterback is so important that if you slip through the cracks at QB, something insane had to have happened, because everyone needs one.
Yeah.
And everyone is looking for ability and traits and things that they can work with. So I think that's the first point. I've watched a lot of George McIntyre play high school football.
Somebody brought up, like, about his offense that he ran. Okay.
I've watched George McIntyre play since he was a sophomore in 2022 and really got his first big chance.
Yeah.
And that Brentwood Academy team was one controversial call away from beating Baylor and playing for a state championship with him as a sophomore.
Wow.
They, that season, ran Josh Heupel's offense. And that is when Josh Heupel offered George McIntyre. And I remember the story from talking to people around that program and being around it and broadcasting one of those games that season. I think it was BACPA 2022 that I called in the zone, that Josh Heupel had told the coaching staff, said, we knew we were going to offer him. I'm calling you sooner than I expected because he's impressed me so much.
Wow.
Tennessee was running Josh Heupel's as close as you're going to find to Josh Heupel's offense. It was up-tempo. It was Tennessee's exact tempo. It was a lot of the same run game elements, a lot of the same checks, a lot of the same routes, a lot of similarities in what he was doing as a sophomore at the highest level of high school football in Tennessee in 2022 that I think still translate to what he's doing now. Now, they had a coaching change. 2023, that was not a good Brentwood Academy team record-wise. I think it still actually was on paper, and if they'd played a lot of the same schedules that teams around the state have played, I think they would have looked a lot different. The next season, he comes in as a senior. Paul Wade's the head coach. That was a good team again, different system.
Yeah.
He had 3 head coaches his last 3 years in high school football. But if he doesn't get hurt the summer going into his senior year and goes to the Elite 11, I think we're still talking about a fringe 5-star, high 4-star quarterback. George McIntyre, I can tell you firsthand, can make all the throws. He is wired the right way. He's made of the right stuff. He is a very impressive athlete. What does he look like when the stadium lights turn on and those routes that you're making on air and those throws that you're making in practice, all of a sudden you can get hit. And all of a sudden you do get hit and have got to get back up. And all of a sudden you can't step into that throw on the 40-yard slot fade to Braylon Staley. I don't know. We're not going to really know until the lights turn on and he gets that opportunity, or Faison Brandon gets that opportunity. I think George McIntyre is a great fit for this offense, and I think that he certainly has all the tools and traits to be a successful starting quarterback at Tennessee. I think Josh Heupel's earned our trust, Ramon, at the quarterback position. Joey Aguilar was there for about 10 minutes before the season started this year, and Tennessee's offense was not the problem. It was the defense. That was the problem. I just never think Tennessee is going to have worse than C-plus quarterback play as long as Josh Heupel is the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers.
I agree.
You could put anybody out there. You could put any number of, I think, quarterbacks out there for Josh Heupel, and he's going to find a way.
Yeah.
This is why you have him as your head coach. Let's see what he can make of it.
You do. And you pair it up, too, now with what you hope, Jim Knowles' ability to challenge that offense in practice. I know they're in conversation about strength and conditioning coaches, like changing the mindset of how they play football. I think moving forward needs to be just a little bit more physical, a little bit more disciplined, and a little bit more complimentary, too, when you look at what side of the ball is doing for the other. That to me is more important than I think watching what the quarterback does, because like you said, more times than not, the quarterback is going to be fine in that system. I do look at the operational of Tennessee's ability to close out players. I would say premier players in the portal has to be evaluated at some point moving forward.
It's got to be evaluated right now. It's got to be evaluated right now.
Whoever the GM or shot caller is on these decisions, or not having the silver tongue on keeping Bo Prabula, in the holding tank, has to be questioned kind of moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do challenge that part. I challenged them to pour into the defense last year.
Yep.
Hey, you need more bodies. They actually have gotten better defense.
Yeah, I think they did a good job on the defensive portal.
But the closing out of, if you want to be competitive in today's world, of either finding talent or getting the guy that you want, needs to be a necessary microscope put on that.
You got to move more quickly.
I'm talking about the process has to be.
You've got to hit the ground running more quickly. They, at the end of the day, will probably have a decent portal class. How much better could it have been if you had attacked the transfer portal the way you did after you got hit in the mouth?
Yeah.
The second it opened.
Yep.
Tennessee built a really good team in 22 and 23 and had some good football teams because Tennessee was first to NIL.
Yeah.
Tennessee was on the cutting edge of a lot of changes to college athletics. That's no longer the case.
Nope.
Tennessee is not writing the playbook anymore in that football staff. And I think if I'm Danny White, that's really disappointing to me because everything that I've done, if I'm Danny White, has set up my athletic department to kind of be the leaders and be first and be forward thinking and first to do the talent fee and first to, have the collective and first to do the Nico deal out of high school. Well, what does that look like now when everyone has money? When Vanderbilt can spend with you? When South Carolina can spend with you? When everybody can offer bags?
Oh.
How do you adjust? How do you evolve? I don't think the staff did a good enough job of that at the beginning of the portal. I think they're still paying for that now as the portal starts to close in a couple of days.
The hardest step is from tier 2 to tier 1.
It is.
And we visited tier 1 before.
From being really good to being elite.
I would say no takesy backsies. Like, whoever the front office guy, you can't take back what you've shown us already.
615-737-1045. We'll talk more about that with Austin Price coming up in an hour. You'll want to hear that as Tennessee licks its wounds and tries to go back to the portal looking for some help at quarterback. Coming up, how would you sell the Tennessee Titans to prospective coaching candidates? Plus, ESPN's Dave Graziano writes about who he predicts for every open job. We'll tell you who he has coming to Tennessee next. Ramona Will rolls on this Tuesday morning. So how would you sell the Tennessee Titans to prospective coaching candidates? We're going to put Ramon in the interview room and let all of you be the coaches. You could tell him how well he did, or you could also give your own pitch, 615-737-1045. Ramon, there will be another coach who will be hearing that pitch because the Titans just made another addition to their schedule for head coach candidates. Jordan Schultz, at Schultz_report, writes on Twitter that the Titans will interview former Giants head coach Brian Daboll for their open head coach job on Friday. First known NFL head coach interview for Brian Daboll. How much caffeine do you think is being consumed over there in that building? Because my goodness, they are talking to a lot of folks over like 3-hour Zoom calls.
I think you
like,
need to.
This is not just a little, hey, come in here and we'll catch up, have some coffee, and you'll be on your way. Like, this is work.
I
That's
admire
being put in over there.
No doubt about it. Like, and here's the thing. That should be the expectation. Like, this almost feel like they're going over and beyond because it is a lot of guys. Like, you almost lose track of it, though, Will. At first, I thought they were, gathering intel on what coaches liked and did not like, as far as their playing scheme and stuff like that, the strategy. But at this point, I'm with you. This is almost like, the Army draft or something. Like, everybody who's available as a healthy body, come in. Like, Brian Daboll now, we did have Ty Dunn on, too. He spoke high about, what Brian Daboll was with the Buffalo Bills. Like, it didn't translate into being a head coach, but if he can unlock him as best as he did with Josh Allen, would you not consider having him on your roster as a coach? I mean, not saying that you need an all-star coaching staff, but, Will, one of the biggest things that has to change about this team is the name brand that it represents, too. And I think some of that might come with who you are associating yourself with, too.
I think they are working hard to assemble as strong of a staff as possible to give whoever the head coach is the highest floor possible. Clearly, head coaching experience means a great deal to them within this process because Ian Rappaport also said yesterday that former Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon is going to interview with the Titans on Sunday.
Dang. These boys is working on their off days.
In the same way that their front office is filled with people who have done the job before, with assistant GMs in Reggie McKenzie and Dave Ziegler, with Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi, with Dave Saganey, with the different members of the brain trust that you have within the front office, I think it is obvious that they value that and want to recreate that the best way that they can with on-field assistance and I would imagine even off-field assistance, Ramon.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I'm interested to hear that, and we'll hopefully be able to have Mike Borgonzi on the show after they do hire a head coach. We'll also hopefully have the new head coach on the show to be able to ask that question. What is the value in having so many interviews, and what did you learn that maybe you didn't think going into this process from all those interviews?
I wonder how much their thought process about this has shifted, too, to your point of having this many people come in. It's almost like going, I hate to correlate it like this. It's like going to a different convention. I was going to say church. It's like going to a different convention and hearing somebody else speak about something that's an expert, but you hear a different version of it later. Like, it can at least mold your mind differently about what you think. I wonder, has that changed for Mike Borgonzi in this process? Like, I didn't think about that.
Has he changed his mind in anything?
Yeah.
It's a great question. Great question.
Or who was the coach that did? Probably Jason Garrett.
Right? You're trolling that.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Some people, again, aren't good coaches, but are probably good minds for the game.
Darius on YouTube says, dang, I just got an interview request for the Titans head coach, y'all. Oh, congrats, Darius.
Congrats, man.
Good for you, man.
Proud
Are you an
of
offensive or defensive mind? Let us know. 615-737-1045. All right. So, Ramon, I'm curious where you would start on selling the Tennessee Titans.
Mm-hmm.
If you were putting yourself in the shoes of the Titans head coach search committee, and you're in the room talking to John Harbaugh, talking to Kevin Stefanski, talking to a number of these coaching candidates, where do you begin to sell the Titans organization?
You know where I'm taking out? I took two categories out. That's the easiest things to talk about and sell. I took out, I don't care about it being your dream of being a head coach. It's 1 of 32. We know that. If I hired you for $2 million, you do this job. I took away the stadium. Couldn't care anymore about it.
Do you think coaching candidates care?
Nope.
Mike Garafolo put that out yesterday in his tweet about why John Harbaugh likes the Titans and said new stadium was a part of it.
What happens if you go in there and you lose every weekend? That's why I took it out. It's because if you go in there and you can't keep it home field,
sure,
it's not loud, it's more of an entertainment district than it is home field advantage. What are we doing here? Football is the game here.
Fair enough.
If we're good, yes, there's an advantage to the stadium.
So what is the headline? What is your first bullet point on the PowerPoint slide to tell head coaching candidates why they should want this job?
I think the one that has the most questions behind it. Now knowing football, people are in control. The brain trust. You bring up Mike Borgonzi. You bring up Reggie McKenzie. I think when you mention those two names right there, and there's probably others I'm not in depth as far as knowing about, but I know if I communicate with those guys what their reputation is, especially a guy like Reggie McKenzie, then we're going to do football. We're going to put that first because I think that matters most when it comes down to this job. Are you concerned about you building your reputation? I think that's why they're going after experienced coaches. No. I'm more worried about how you work with me into making this more of a standard football team moving forward. Setting that foundation is where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
And in the list of what Mike Garafolo said, stood out to John Harbaugh yesterday, he did mention GM Mike Borgonzi.
Yeah.
Jake Laser on Fox over the weekend for pregame coverage on Saturday said, there's a GM down there that a lot of folks like in Mike Borgonzi. So you're starting by looking at the experience of the front office to say this is a positive for you.
And the removal of the non-football people making decisions.
Okay.
Not to say Miss Amy shouldn't have a say-so. She's going to get updates on a rundown. You got the rundown for me, Jim? Like the office right there. She should get that. And she should be present. But as far as the on-field product, I think that's the biggest selling point is you don't have to worry about what the national media said about us, what Vrabel may have said about us, previous regimes have said about you. I think that needs to come first. One of the first things. Do I have to worry about getting fired? No, you don't. I got you here. As long as we're good, you're here. Second one is this. And some of these kind of blend together. Plenty of cap. Having money is a good thing in sports, especially if I can take, number one, I just gave you, football-minded people and what you want your team to look like and strategically go spend money on guys I feel like I want this team to look like. That matters, having the money to go spend it and free agency because there's a lot of change that will have to happen. Guys on expiring contracts are guys you got to make decisions about moving forward, and here's your opportunity to do as such.
I think it's totally fair. And I think you look at comparing the Titans to, let's say, the Atlanta Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question right now, based off of the season that they had and the season that we had here. I think it's not debatable. The Atlanta Falcons roster is in a better place today than the Tennessee Titans. The good news is neither of those teams are playing today or tomorrow or in a week or in a month. And there's going to be an acquisition period that can be had here where both of those teams could make their rosters look drastically different. Obviously, Atlanta's going to have a new general manager, new president, new head coach. Titans are going to change head coach. I think there's a chance that by September, you can at least have a comparable, and we can at least have the debate on which team has the better roster. That's asking a lot of the Titans this offseason, but Jacksonville and New England have proven to us that if you make the right head coach and assistant coach hires, your quarterback takes a step up, and you make the right free agent moves, you can turn things around fairly quickly. Okay. I like it.
I know some people are going to say, well, it was Cam supposed to be number one. I put Cam 3 for a reason on this list. One, he should be behind what you want your team to look like first. I ain't going to say as it stands right now because Cam hadn't proven a lot in this league. Have we seen flashes? Absolutely. We've seen the flashes. But this team needs more than just those flashes, which is why I put working with football people, plenty of cap to rebuild the team up because we rebuild the team up, I bring in a competent coach. That's where Cam comes into play. The opportunity to work with a young, talented quarterback in Cam Ward. I think with where he's at in his career, getting his feet wet last year, this past season, your ability to retrain his thought process, surround him with an offense that's going to work for him is where those things now come into play. He's got it when it comes down to what you believe in at the quarterback position. Now it's how do you mold him into being an NFL quarterback. I don't think he really got that opportunity last year. What we saw from Cam, I felt like in 2025 was a raw version of a quarterback that was projected to be number one, and you saw that P word, his projectables, the talent. But I don't think you saw a complete game out of Cam Ward at all.
Fair. Is that it? Is that it?
That's it.
That's the full pitch?
That's three. No, I got two more.
Okay. Yeah, all right. You got 5 of these.
Yeah, I got 5. You asked for 5. I was going to give you 5.
I'm going to let you cook.
All right, let me cook then. This one is resetting the culture. Right now, I think there's culture inside of the locker room, but I'm not sure if this fan base and fans of this team know what that culture is. Is it smash mouth? Is it great defense? Is it, high-flying, fun, exciting plays? I don't know what that is. The right coach that does those first 3 things right gets an opportunity to say, that's Tennessee Titans football. We talked earlier off air about what AFC North football is. We know what NFC West is right now, too, right? We can see and diagnose what those cultures are. Right now, Tennessee Titans, the team, I feel like is in a position where defining day-to-day what a Tennessee Titan look like is paramount with where Cam is in his career. You can do that if you set this thing up right with those first 3 segments I gave you, and that's the 4th.
Okay.
The last one is a chance to reshape the franchise. What I say about that one is this. If you do the first 4 right, here's your opportunity now to get a statue out front of that new Nissan Stadium as a head coach. I view the AFC South. This is where the AFC South division comes into play. There will be some players that age out of what they got going on in Houston. I think the quarterback situation that you're facing in Indiana is sketchy right now with him getting back healthy. Daniel Jones getting back healthy and them making the decision. Liam Cohen and his crew had the ability to win the AFC South. It's still prime. And facing these opponents right here, you get an opportunity to go into this arms race of resetting the Tennessee Titans franchise and establishing itself in the AFC South to where you're not just looked at as a franchise, it's the Jags or it's the Houston Tech. No, you're validated by hitting on those first 4, by saying this is the brand of the Titans moving forward. And I don't know if they've solidified that consistently since the early 2000s. There was a spurt 2020 to 2021, 2022. But here's now an opportunity to, if you pick right and you do right by putting football first, to reset the entire culture. And that where the stadium is more of an attraction where it's toxic.
You can be beloved by a fan base that is hungry for someone to attach themselves to.
Jeff Fisher.
Who doesn't have a significant amount of history that you are living in the shadow of. It's a great point that I hadn't really thought of.
It shouldn't just be Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans.
Right.
I've said that for the longest. It shouldn't be Big Jeff and the Tennessee Titans.
There's not a generational legacy that this franchise has left because it just hasn't been around long enough.
You mentioned your generation that was born here.
Right.
Now it's your turn to watch this be a franchise that you say, that's what I grew up on and watch and love.
I like it. 615-737-1045, open for your feedback and open for how you would sell the Titans and what you think the biggest selling point is. I think the only thing I would change is...
And I'm up for change.
I think you start with just combining 2 of those points into one to say, in Tennessee, this project can be whatever you want it to be.
That's so true.
We've got a top 5 pick. We've got the most cap space. We've got some cornerstones in the locker room, but if you like a cornerstone that's out there in free agency or the draft, we have the tools to go get them. I like what Lucas said on the station yesterday. It's a blank canvas for you.
That's what I was thinking.
Does that matter to John Harbaugh? Does that matter to Kevin Stefanski? Or does he look at the Atlanta Falcons on film and say, no, I can work with that defense. That's a good enough defense today. That I can come bring my offense in. Well, the problem is in Atlanta, you got $10 million of cap space. We can spend that on one guy here.
Yeah.
We've got $100 million in cap space, at least, and we don't even know how much the cap's going up. Whatever you want this organization to look like, you have the tools and resources to build it your way. I think that matters. And I think for someone like John Harbaugh, I still think it makes this job as attractive as any of the others out there.
Do you think the media is more forgiving here in Nashville than it would be in New York, Atlanta?
Certainly than New York.
Pressure,
I mean, New York media is different. I don't know if that matters to these alpha, and not every coach is a quote-unquote alpha,
Right.
but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. Like their egos.
Coaches are wired differently.
Yeah.
I don't think most coaches are, in my opinion, taking or not taking a job based on how the media is going to cover them.
What I would say is the sense of pride that certain media hold coaches too, like Baltimore holding Harbaugh. That it started like Pittsburgh and Tomlin. The way Dabo had to take it and eat it.
Maybe as a tiebreaker, but I don't think that really
is what I'm saying.
Do you think that matters?
I think you feel it. I know you hear the rumblings. Your kids feel it. Your family, your wives, not wives, your wife feels it. You know? Family feels
fair
that
enough.
pressure.
I mean, you've lived that obviously more than I have,
doubt.
so I'll defer to your judgment. But I think there are plenty of bullet points on things that you got to decide on jobs. I'm not sure that's in the top 5.
Not in the top 5, but
coaches.
It's in consideration.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Open to your phone calls and ESPN's Dan Graziano predicting where everyone's going to land. Interesting stuff we'll get to next.
In today's AI world, you can't even trust your own eyes anymore, man. We got to stop and ask, is this real? Well, you know what is real? Your health. And I continually tell you guys that all the time. And I'm here to tell you that the experts at Synergex and Low T Center, they can change your life. If you have been suffering from the symptoms of low testosterone, such as constant tiredness, lack of focus, or that feeling of just feeling off. At Synergex and Low T Center, you can meet with a real provider and not one of those chat bots on a website that ask you questions and give you answers, honestly, that you didn't even ask about. You can get real medications, never compounded testosterone or hormones. You get real pricing, not a surprise when the bill comes from a website. You get real results because Synergex and Low T Center are the experts offering superior medication, service, and support. And they've been doing this for over a decade, and it's real. I tell you all the time, we always worry about the outside, the way we look, our shell. No, you need to focus on the inside, too. I'm telling you, guys and ladies, get real about your health this year at Synergex and Low T Center. For a limited time, the men's TRT test is free and women's hormone test is normally $299. It's now $99, and the weight loss consultation is free. You can walk in or book an appointment at getmyhealthfix.com.
The best financial move you can make this time of year? How about lowering your mortgage rate to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by calling Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Will Bowling. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait. No hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Act now. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out all higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 615-499-5780 and see how much cash you can get today at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up hour number 2 this morning. Ramon just sold us on how you sell the Titans. He sold us on the Titans. What do you think? How would you sell the Titans? Or are you sold?
I guess I could have shrunk one or two of those. Could have made it a 3 or 4 point.
I like the way you did it. I think it makes sense.
But I thought the last point is probably could have said to us a blank can't. We can be whatever you want us to be.
Let's go to Mike in Cleveland first up. Good morning, Mike.
What up, Mike? Good morning. There it is.
What's up, my people?
What's happening,
How y'all doing?
Good, man.
All right, this morning.
Yeah, just on this road. Man, real quick before I get into it, man, I want to thank y'all for just doing y'all's job, man, early in the morning, man. Y'all been a nice little, last few weeks, y'all been on it, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Feel me, with just breaking everything down. Y'all been a good way to start my morning on this road, real timely. So, appreciate y'all.
Thank you for being a part of the show, Mike.
Wings on me.
Man, I ain't nobody. Y'all know me. But, but let me tell you, though, man, Amon, I think you did a great job at selling it. And if I could add to it, if I could just be your assistant, in the room real quick, I would say you can start off, and it's an open canvas. We can go where you want to go. But I think this young squad that stepped up, even during the coaching change with an interim head coach, the DK, Gunner, and all of those young guys, as my brother like to say, you need good bones. Well, I think they displayed some good bones. We got the lumber that you need to set up the foundation that you're gonna pour. That's what I'm saying. If we're gonna sell it, let's sell it. Let's throw some swag in there. This is your foundation, but we got some good lumber over here to put up when your foundation dried up. And it seems like with these young guys, man, they humble, they hungry, they want success. They're not coming in like what we see today with a online, platform that they're trying to add to. They're still trying to gain their place in this game, in this city, and we just need somebody. We need a general for all of these captains. We have a good captain in Big Jeff right now who's helping bringing them up, along with bringing up our other young captain Cam. I think Big Jeff and what he offers as a leader should be part of that as well. And he's here to stay. You know what I mean? He ain't making no rumbles. He ain't talking about trades. None of that. So that's something I would, number 6, number 7 on the list to go with Big Moan. But I just wanted to talk about that because I think these young guys need to be highlighted a little bit more because they have stepped up in a major way when they could have laid down. So that's all I got, man. God bless y'all, man.
Thanks, Mike. I agree. I think Big Jeff is certainly in the top 5 of selling points.
And I thought about, only reason I didn't add Big Jeff in, though, is just to be quite honest with you, how long will he continue to play to see this thing through? I think Jeff's hope would be that Fletcher clocks this thing.
Sure.
Be with a franchise long enough to see it turn around to where you're a Super Bowl competitor at that point.
Yeah. Let's go to Chuck in Hendersonville up next. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, I like a lot of the points that you made, but one thing, we're looking at it as how we would sell it. I think a lot of times when you're selling something, you got to look at how the buyer wants to buy it. And when you're talking about a coach, you got to look at the guy and say, well, what's going on there in the last 3 years with coaches? And we got rid of the coach of the year, and now he's very likely, the first time back, going to possibly win a Super Bowl and be coach of the year again. And we've had all those general managers in 3 years. We've had all those coaches in 3 years. Salary cap, are we going to have salary cap? Yes, we got money, but am I going to have any control or say-so over that money as a coach?
Right.
Do I get to bring my guys in? Someone like Harbaugh, man, he's going to be able to get free agents. He's going to be able to get people are going to want to come and play for that guy. We've got to, we're going to have to, it's not about the purse strings so much as it is about, are we going to allow him to run the game? Are we going to allow him to have that control? And, we haven't done that in the past. And, when you're talking about a guy like that who can go anywhere he wants to go, or any other coach that's worth their weight, they're going to want to have some control. The stadium's great. Yeah, Big Jeff is phenomenal, man. I think we should build around him. I think we should come up and get us a defense that just, you got to start somewhere. He's a good starting point. Get a defense that can just overwhelm like Houston was doing last night.
Sure.
And then the rest of the team could build around that.
Yeah.
But we got to give that coach control. He's got to be able to bring his people in. He's got to be able to make calls, and that hasn't been the history.
No
so
doubt. We appreciate it, man. I will say that was the first point. I'm not sure when Chuck heard it. That was the actual first point, too.
Yeah, for sure. You got to have time.
Yeah, and, knowing the football, people are in control.
Yeah. ESPN.com's Dan Graziano predicting where coaches land. Has Matt Nagy still for the Titans.
Yeah. I feel like that's gotten quiet, though.
Has Jeff Hafley going to the New York Giants. Packers defensive coordinator. He's got John Harbaugh picking the Falcons. Dan Graziano does. Saying Arthur Blank will be willing to spend what it takes to get the top coach available. Falcons are also looking for a GM, and that could be appealing to Harbaugh, as he could have some say regarding who gets the role, which I think is a great point, depending on what the order of operations is there. He's got Clint Kubiak going to Arizona. Them switching from defensive coach to offensive coach. I think that makes a ton of sense. How about this? Kevin Stefanski, Baltimore, is the prediction from ESPN's Dan Graziano.
Ooh,
that would be a tough sell, I think, in Baltimore.
Happy for Baltimore.
You'd be so happy for Baltimore, or happy for you as a Baltimore rival?
Yes.
What? No, those are two opposite points. Which side would you be on?
So happy for Baltimore, Will.
Can't tell if you're being serious, so I'm just going to keep going. Mike McDaniel to the Browns from Dan Graziano. These are predictions. Nothing's being reported here. Robert Saleh for the Raiders. The prediction there. Chris Shula for the Dolphins. That one makes a lot of sense with the Shula last name. Don Shula's grandson coaching Don's old team. You can write the Disney Plus special now. 615-737-1045. Open for more of your phone calls. Get to Cousin P. We'll get to Ricky. We'll also hear from Aaron Rodgers talking about how the NFL has changed. Why are coaches like John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, and Mike Tomlin becoming more available more quickly in today's day and age? We'll talk about that next. The real estate market in Nashville is challenging. Just because everyone wants to move here does not make it easy to relocate. You need the best team on your side. You need my good friend Bernie Gallerani of Bernie Gallerani Real Estate. Irene needed the right real estate team, and it made all the difference. When she and her family went after a home that received 7 offers on the very first day, they knew it would take expert strategy and strong negotiation to win. Well, with the guidance and experience of Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, they secured the property they wanted in a highly competitive situation. Then came the sale of her townhome in Gallatin, a market saturated with similar properties. Well, even though their house was not the lowest priced in the community, it was the first one to sell. That result came from smart pricing, aggressive follow-up, and the full support of the Bernie Gallerani Real Estate team working behind the scenes. What stood out the most to Irene was the constant communication and the determination to chase every opportunity. She felt like a top priority along the way. 615-428-2644. Get Bernie Gallerani on your side. He guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. You can check him out online at BernieGallerani.com. That's 615-428-2644, online at BernieGallerani.com. The best financial move you can make this time of year? How about lowering your mortgage rate to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by calling Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Will Bowling. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait. No hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. So act now. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out all higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 615-499-5780 and see how much cash you can get today. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
.803, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Titans news this morning, per Jordan Schultz, the Titans will interview former Giants head coach Brian Daboll for their open head coach job on Friday. It's the first known NFL head coaching interview for Daboll. And former head coach of the Ravens, John Harbaugh, plans to meet in person later this week with multiple teams, per NFL Network's Tom Palazolo. Harbaugh has spoken by phone with each of the teams that have head coaching vacancies. Former interviews are the next step in the process. Wildcard weekend of the NFL playoffs wrapped up last night as the Texans, behind 2 defensive touchdowns, routed the Steelers 30-6, get their first road playoff win in franchise history, and claim the final spot in the divisional round. The Texans defense smothered the Steelers in what could have been Aaron Rodgers' last NFL game, allowing just 175 yards of total offense. And involves transfer portal news this morning. Safety help on the way as Tennessee has signed junior Michigan safety transfer TJ Metcalf, who finished 2025 with 58 tackles and an interception as a starter. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the second half of the show on your Tuesday morning commute. Whether you're walking from the bedroom to the office or driving on I-24, 65, or anything with an eye in front of it, we're glad you decided to make us a part of your morning. Austin Price will join the show in 15 minutes with the latest out of Knoxville, with Tennessee still looking for a quarterback. Turned down by Sam Levitt, Bo Pribula heading to UVA. What is next? And who's the leader in the clubhouse to be QB1 today? Austin addresses all that with us coming up in a few minutes. Michigan DB TJ Metcalf committing in the last half hour as well. So we'll get a breakdown on him as someone, of course, who Austin has already spoken to about his commitment, because that is what Austin does.
Yes, it is.
Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, 615-737-1045. Titans certainly in the John Harbaugh sweepstakes, according to Mike Garafolo. That's the story of the morning. His tweet yesterday saying, as we wait for John Harbaugh to finalize his interviews, sources say he likes what he sees in the Titans. Cam Ward, $100 million plus in cap space, high picks, new stadium, GM Mike Borgonzi. Not saying he's going to Tennessee, just that for now, I expect them to be firmly in the mix. Falcons interviewed John Harbaugh Monday. Chris Mara, the Giants' senior personnel consultant, told The Athletic that he had a meeting with Harbaugh at his house on Sunday. Ramon, are you believing that the Harbaugh buzz is real at this point, based on what we're learning for the Tennessee Titans?
For the Tennessee Titans, yes, absolutely. I thought it from the beginning. Stefanski, of course, was my numero uno when it comes down to hiring. Just for what he can do as a coach, what he dealt with in Cleveland. But you mentioned John Harbaugh. It shifts everything about everybody else's thought process on hiring coaches. Guys like him don't usually come available. I do think, looking at his situation, it's probably the same as Coach Tomlin's, in the sense of the same old thing you got tired of. What you do believe is this, though, is a guy like him is probably energized by what a new opportunity could do for him. So, of course, you want him. He has a proof of concept when it comes down to coaching and managing men, and a franchise for that matter, especially that one over there in Baltimore.
We asked you to sell the people on the Titans, like our listeners or the coaches, and you are in the room. We've got more phone calls on that. 615-737-1045. Cousin P is in Nashville. What's up, Cousin P? How are you?
P? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. I know it's been a while. I hope you all had a good holiday season.
You too, man. Welcome back.
Thank you, man. I'm pretty sure that y'all have hit on a lot of the major points, obviously, infrastructure and, new stadium and all that great stuff, man. But two things I'd like to add to that is, one, and I think Mike touched on this already, but just having a young team. I think that, they're very impressionable. These young guys have not seen what a head coach looks like in this league. And I think that whoever comes in has an opportunity to really show them what it means to be a professional athlete. From a coach's standpoint, I'm sure that Jeff has kind of talked to them from a teammate standpoint, but what does that look like from a coach's standpoint? And the next really biggest thing for me is very, very low expectations. As a Titans fan, guys, I can't tell you the last time that I actually stood up while I watch my team in my living room. I'm one of those guys that likes to coach the team from the TV like they can actually hear me. When I watch Titans, I'm usually emotionless. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't expect much. If we get a touchdown, if Cam throws a great pass, man, that's wonderful. But I'm not expecting to win. What is this, the third or second season in a row that we've won 3 games?
Yeah.
Hadn't had a winning season in how many years? So the expectation for a coach that comes in here, I mean, you win 6 games next year, and I mean, all of a sudden, like you said, we're building statues outside of the Nissan Stadium, right? So I think that bodes well for, and I'm going to go ahead and call it now, John Gruden. I think he's our guy. I also want to add the fact that this, and y'all tell me this has been one of the greatest head coaching seasons I can remember seeing and hearing about. And if you go ahead and add Mike Tomlin to that list, I don't know how I don't know how your Pittsburgh Steelers feel about that, Ramon, but
yeah.
My God, man, if you had that guy to the list, I mean, it would be the greatest, Toys R Us run that a kid could have as a Titans fan. So, hey, guys, I love you all. I know we don't talk as much, man, but I'm always listening, guys. So have a great one.
Appreciate you stopping by, Cousin
You too, P.
I don't think John Gruden is a candidate for any of these jobs, personally. You never know. Maybe secret stuff. He's not being requested to interview anywhere.
I was going to say, he's yet to get a request. There's there's conversation about Gruden, too, as a coach that I think is fascinating about how he won his Super Bowl. You can never take it away from him.
He has become quite a character in media. I'll give him full credit for that. He's built himself a great career, but I think there's a little bit of revisionist history on how good of a coach he really was because of how much of a character he is.
Mm-hmm.
Respectfully to Cousin P, I don't think he's in the mix. And I don't know if Mike Tomlin becomes available, Ramon. I'm not sure he wants to coach right away next year.
I don't either. I was saw a clip from Kelsey, Jason Kelsey.
Yeah,
he was talking about it's got to be tiring with what he's going through right now, and I think that's probably what we'll get. A break.
Let's go to Ricky in Nolensville up next. Hey, Ricky.
Hey, good morning. Yes, sir. One of the biggest draws that you guys mentioned is the cap space in our high draft pick. But which route would you guys go with, right? With the high draft pick, do you help out and help Jeff, or do you, go buy weapons for Cam or vice versa? Love to hear your thoughts on that.
Thanks, Ricky. I've not done enough prep yet on the draft to give you a 1,000% educated answer on that. Yeah. And we've got a long process that's got to happen to really know enough about these prospects, Ramon. But for me, it's one of three positions that I think are going to be addressed with the first-round pick: wide receiver, edge rusher, or corner. You give me any of those three and convince me that player is the best available, I'm all right with it.
I think with what's available, Ricky, you can do all those things.
Yeah.
With the money and the draft capital that you have, you can do all of them.
I don't think it's healthy to be totally tied to one prospect in January. We got to let the process play out. But
right.
I totally get the question, Ricky. And, if I was picking one right now, I'd probably say Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State, I think is what you got to do first to allow Cam to have a wide receiver to grow with. But, they need a number one corner as well.
Yeah.
Badly.
Yeah.
Probably need a number two corner also.
Yes.
This offseason.
Some start planning for safety, but most definitely corners.
Do you have a favorite pick as of today?
For
the Titans at number 4?
Yeah.
Who is
it? It ain't going to be sexy. I think best available end up being Caleb Downs. He's a safety, I know.
I actually think that is among one of the sexier picks that the Titans could still make, because Caleb Downs makes some highlight plays in that Ohio State defense.
And if they got him playing nickel safety, run support.
That would definitely be best available if he's there at number 4.
I'll be real. Are you drafting Carnell Tate to be WR1, or is he, career-wise, a real good T. Higgins?
I can't answer that yet till I know more about him, but I think he could turn into a wide receiver 1, yeah. I think if you're drafting a wide receiver in the top 5, you expect that guy to turn into a wide receiver 1. Is he right away? Probably not. Is he long-term? I hope so.
That's kind of why I side Caleb Downs, because I see the ceiling being higher.
Sure.
But the need for Carnell is high.
They've got to go get a wide receiver 1 and 2 this offseason, in my opinion. So whether that's Alec Pierce and Carnell Tate, whether that's Mekhi Lemon and Jawan Jennings, Romeo Dobbs, I believe, also available. Remains to be seen.
I said comment, it makes sense, though. Somebody got Jeremiah Love in our YouTube chat. It's a running back, I know.
I know Zach Lyons is in on that. That's the one thing I don't want to do. I think you look at Las Vegas and look at the way they chased running back before they totally had a line and an offense for that guy to fit in and hit the ground running right away. And I think it'd be a wasted pick.
Maybe if you trade back.
Yeah, maybe if you trade back. Great point.
At 9 and later, you're good at
Sure.
it. Okay.
But then I'm also looking at Mansour Delane out of LSU, and I'm looking at Jermon McCoy, and I'm looking at, corner, like Terrell, the Clemson kid. I don't think this team is ready to chase a young running back. I would rather go spend a lot of money on a running back like Breece Hall, because with where I'm at cap-wise, I can afford to go spend on the best running back in free agency. I don't have to draft one. Some teams have to draft them. I don't have to.
This is true.
So it depends on what happens with Breece Hall or what happens with Rico Dowdle and some of the other guys. What you got, Justin?
To clear something up, Cousin P called back. He did not mean to say Gruden. That was a Freudian
Harbaugh?
slip. He meant Harbaugh.
Okay, yeah.
He wanted to clear that up.
I was going to say, Cousin Pete knows ball, and I was pretty surprised by that.
Bro,
He said, I sounded like.
you see, we didn't attack him.
He said,
See,
I sounded so dumb.
We were nice about it. But
Brother.
that's great.
All right, P.
That's
He
great.
back.
All right.
He back.
We are the groomers. The groomers have been shut down. Speaking of groomers, Austin Price joins us. Talking Vols coming up next.
Hey, if you're like others that call in, man, is not thinking straight, okay, you might need to call Medical House Calls like I've done myself, man. That is the website, medicalhousecalls.com, man. They are healthcare designed for your life. They want to be a concierge medicine to you, medicine provider for you, man, whether it's at your home, whether it's at your friend's home, whether you're out of town, whatever the case may be. They want to be able to service you however you need, man, from primary care, urgent care, IV therapy, and even medical weight loss, man. With a simple call or text, man, their team will assess what you need within minutes. You can book your visits, and here's the cool part about it. They will show up to your house for a flat fee and give you an evaluation, full exam, treatment plans, and prescriptions if you need it. Look, if it's not those things that you need as far as just a full doctor service, you can do the mobile IV therapy like I did. And let me tell y'all, it was so clutch. It was everything that I needed it to be. I felt a sickness coming on. I called them over. They gave me all the vitamins that I needed in the IV, man. I rehydrated myself, and I was able to kind of push that sickness out really fast. Or if you just need recovery, it's been a long weekend, or if you've been fighting the flu, well, guess what? They can do those things for you also, from athletic recovery, immune boosting, rapid rehydration, or energy boost. Whatever you need, they will handle it for you. 7 days a week, man, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Listen to me. Go to medicalhousecalls.com or call or text them at 615-838-2375.
Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone as hour number 3 continues. Lots to get into in Knoxville. Alongside Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins, our producer, as we connect with Austin Price in a matter of seconds, our Vols insider, who we visit with every Tuesday at 8:20. Ramon, we talked about it earlier this morning, how Sam Leavitt is off to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Pribula is headed to Virginia. How comfortable are you with George McIntyre? That's the question that Josh Heupel's got to answer. Question that we'll ask Austin Price in just a moment as Justin gets him on the phone now. And Austin joins us with lots to get into today. What's up, Austin? Good morning.
Sorry, guys. I was on an important phone call getting information. What's going on?
No problem. It's that time of year. It's always that time of year at VolQuest.com. That's why we encourage people to get us up.
I want to hear the glass break again. I know we already heard it.
Do it, J-Hawk. Do it, Hawk.
Come on. Here we go. There it is.
There we go.
That must have been a real good call right there, Austin.
I love it. All right, the glass is broken. Now, everybody panic. Tennessee doesn't have a quarterback yet. Austin, Austin, I couldn't believe how many pages there were in the VolQuest chat last night as I'm watching Steelers-Texans. But again, I digress. Austin, did Tennessee go all in on Sam Leavitt right away? Could they have managed this recruitment differently from the start?
I mean, all in. I mean, they were all in on recruiting him. I mean, financially, I don't know if they were all in or not. But I mean, I think ultimately they made a strong enough push, at the end that it just boiled down to they were only going to go so high, and LSU was willing to just continue to go. And you have to kind of, I think, know where your boundaries are. I mean, listen, Sam Leavitt will get healthy. I'm not worried about that. But I mean, Sam Leavitt does have that Liz Frank injury with screws in the foot. He wasn't going to be available for spring. So, there was a risk involved with him, no matter who took him. I mean, I said the other day, I found it comical, the narratives after LSU kind of botched the whole Desmond Williams, Sam Leavitt visit with, them trying to get Williams to leave Washington. I found it comical that the LSU narrative was, well, he's dragging his foot behind him. His Liz Frank injury is worse than, and so I called all this field back. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys acted like he was, going to have his foot amputated. Now all of a sudden, Lane's flying into Knoxville trying to woo him back. I mean, which again is what teams do. When you don't feel like you're getting a kid because you botched the visit, you just start to tank the narrative on him. But then they made a second run at him. Money cures all, right? I mean, like everybody gets out of their feelings when enough money's thrown around, and Lane gets it done. So kudos to them. Again, Leavitt will get healthy. I mean, he just won't be healthy for spring, which it'll be kind of like Joey Aguilar situation last year. By the time Sam gets going, it will be it'll be summertime. The only difference there is he'll be able to functionally learn the system over the next few weeks. So Tennessee's got to find their quarterback. Don't know who that's going to be at this point. Tennessee's got 4 days to figure it out, and we'll see if they can get it done.
Austin Price of VolQuest on 3, our guest. Bo Pribula announces his commitment to Virginia yesterday. Austin, he was on campus over the weekend. How badly did Tennessee want him? How closely did they vet the former Missouri quarterback?
They vetted him a lot. I mean, they brought him in and took a long, hard look at him, met with him. I think they liked Bo okay, but I don't think that they ever were fully invested there, and Bo kind of had to move on at some point. He moved on yesterday when Tennessee was trying to make that last-minute run at Sam Leavitt. I think he kind of knew his place here, and Tennessee was comfortable and not pushing too hard to get back in the boat with him. Again, Tennessee's got to find somebody. When I say they've got to find their quarterback, I don't mean they have to find their starter. They just have to find a quarterback to compete, to be in the room, to be a functional body if they had to turn there. Tennessee is very comfortable with the kids they've evaluated and brought in. Obviously, in a perfect world, you'd like to have somebody with a little bit more experience than what George has, which is basically none, and Faison, which is none. So, but that doesn't mean that those two kids can't get the job done. It just means that they've not shown it because they've not been either given the opportunity or had the opportunity at this point.
Joined by Austin Price of Vol Question on 3. Austin, with that same, I guess topic, how comfortable are the Vols with George McIntyre starting next season? As, they did go flirt for transfer portal quarterback.
They're comfortable with George. Obviously, George has got to put on weight. That's been the thing. And the whole notion is, and like somebody said to me last night, the whole weight thing's a bit overblown. I said, well, to a degree, right? Like, George McIntyre can functionally play the quarterback position with his arm and stuff at the weight he's at now, no problem. But when you take hit after hit after hit, how does he survive? Justin Herbert got obliterated in the game against the Patriots, right? I mean, he just kept getting hit. And again, the goal is the offensive line never lets your quarterback get hit that way. But sometimes you give up something. I mean, look at the hit Joey took when they had the mistake. Was that on David Sanders? Was that on somebody else? Like, I don't know. I don't know what the protection was or where he was supposed to go there. Either way, R. Mason Young got through and just nailed Joey. Like, George needs the extra weight to be able to handle that. And again, he can get there. He just has to really put it on over the next 6 months or so. Nico was similar weight-wise when he played in the Cheez-Its Citrus Bowl. And then the guy that started that following August or September was about 20 pounds heavier. That's where George McIntyre has to be. And when I see George, I joke about sending him Reese cups and stuff because he's about the same weight as Trinidad Chambliss. The difference is Trinidad Chambliss is 6'1" and George is 6'6". So it all looks proportionally different. So I guess for me, George has really got to put on the weight just to do it. But he can play the position now at the current weight he is. He's a great arm, good athlete. But again, when you're taking the pounding of playing in this league, I think the extra weight would definitely help him. Faison, weight-wise, is going to be ahead of where George is. Now, mentally, George is going to be ahead of where Faison is because he's been here for a year. So that'll be your competition, and then whoever else they bring in to compete with them in spring and fall camp.
And also, just to add more context to that too, man, this is why football teams weigh in weekly also, is because during the course of the week for like small skill guys, wide receivers, DBs, quarterbacks, like you deteriorate, you lose weight. And on the opposite side, big skill, D lineman, O lineman, they somewhat gain weight. It's for performance is what you're saying for the most part with these type of situations, correct, Austin?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Again, like guys fluctuate. Your Cooper Mays would be at 305 at the start of, fall camp, and then, after practicing all, August long, he'd be at 298 or whatever, right? I mean, then, you get in more of a routine where you're not practicing, and then by the time you get to October, November, when everything gets a little cooler, you don't sweat as much, you're able to, keep the weight on a little bit more. So, you remember when you were an offensive lineman, Ramon, I mean, you would fluctuate, you know, and sometimes you'd be bigger, sometimes you'd be smaller, and that's just kind of how it goes. But for George, he's just got to put it on. Again, he can play the position at his current weight.
No doubt.
The fear, though, is just the pounding that he takes. How much can he recover from just getting hit after hit after hit? Just because you can, the offensive line can protect, and you still take a pounding when you're outside that pocket trying to throw on the run or whatever else. Look at the hit Jawan took on that reverse. I mean, he got obliterated on that dime he threw to McCaffrey on Sunday. But, I mean, like that can happen to a quarterback that's rolling outside the pocket as well.
No doubt. Also, I guess the question is also, where can Tennessee still go to get a quarterback? Is it at the FCS level, hyper willing to go down and grab a quarterback like that?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if anybody else goes in over the next few days. And then, at the FCS level, who would be available that Tennessee might take a look at. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's where you're at. I mean, before the fans freak out, I mean, Trinidad Chambliss came from the FCS level. There's some good, solid quarterbacks that have come from there. And, again, what's Tennessee trying to get? Again, doesn't mean they're trying to get a starter. They're very comfortable with the guys that they've evaluated and recruited. Now, in a perfect world, sure, they would have loved to have had a guy like a Brendan Sorsby or Sam Levitt that has experience. But Texas Tech paid $6 million and giving $1 million in annuity and a 12-game package for the Wheels Up contract to a kid that at minimum has lost 4 games every year at Cincinnati. Like, you see where I'm going there? I mean, like, it's not like this kid rolled up all these crazy big wins and stats. Super talented kid. I think he'll be just fine and win a bunch of games at Texas Tech next year. I think they'll be really good. But the point is like, there's more than one way to get to your destination. Sometimes it's going to the transfer portal. Sometimes it's going with the evaluations of guys you have. You look at other players in this, in this era. Ty Simpson waited his time. Marcel Reed in year 2 was able to perform at a certain level. Like, it's not the same way across the board. So Josh Heupel and them have always done a good job with the offense. I'd be shocked if the offense regressed to a point where it was, insufferable or couldn't get the job done. And the defense certainly looks like it's getting better with the new additions that they've been able to add.
It's certainly incredible. We could have almost a quarter of the SEC's quarterbacks be from Nashville private schools between George McIntyre, Marcel Reed, and Jared Curtis in 2026. So crazy. Austin, let's talk about one of those defensive additions in Michigan. DB transfer TJ Metcalf. You have a piece with him up at VolQuest.com this morning, committing earlier today. What is Tennessee getting in him on defense?
Well, they're getting a guy who's experienced, a guy who is, one of the tops in the league in the Big Ten, and, just a guy who fundamentally gets at a bigger safety, can get downhill, can play in space. Tennessee, as soon as he hit the portal, this was one of the top priorities for Anthony Poindexter and Jim Knowles, and they were able to get this done. Obviously, they've added DeJuan Lane. As I posted on VolQuest, we'll see what happens. Caleb Beasley entered the portal last night, or announced his intentions to enter the portal last night, and we'll see what happens with somebody like Idris Farouk. Started all year last year. These kids look at, they don't want to. They just want to keep starting, right? They don't want to rotate or be in a different position than they were in a year ago. So does he reevaluate things? I mean, if he does, he does. If he doesn't, obviously Tennessee'd love to have Idris Farouk on. And this staff's been very complimentary of him when I've talked to him, and their desire to want to keep him on the roster. But Tennessee needed to add depth at safety. They needed to add playmakers at safety, and so that's kind of where things are. With the safety position, Tennessee needs to add, a defensive tackle. They need to add another corner. They probably need to add a tight end, because the notion is that Jay Van Dorselaer may end up going to the portal. And obviously they need to look at running back and then, of course, quarterback, as we talked about.
Austin, an edge rusher. Tennessee has certainly addressed a need there. Chaz Coleman, Tulane edge rusher, Jordan Norman joining the mix. I'm curious, just starting with Coleman, Austin, for someone that didn't have crazy production last season and wasn't maybe that 5-star recruit out of high school, certainly highly touted in the On3 industry rankings and in the On3 portal process, and Tennessee wanted him, LSU wanted him, Ohio State wanted him. What makes Chaz Coleman such an intriguing prospect? What do you think Tennessee likes about him?
Long, athletic. Obviously, the staff knew exactly what they were getting with Chaz Coleman. That's why they pushed so hard. It's kind of like everybody said, well, I mean, I don't get, like, Tennessee really didn't push for King Mack, and he started at safety for Penn State, but they really pushed hard for DeJuan Lane. And I said, well, there are some times when you know what you have in a younger player who's just not quite there yet this year, but you expect to be there next year. Look at James Pierce. Year 1 plays a little bit in garbage duty, and then year 2. And so I'm not saying that DeJuan Lane is James Pierce of the safety position. I'm just saying, if you think that this kid has great upside, and in year 2 in the defense, no matter whether you change location or not, the defense remains the same. You think he has a chance to really go boom, then you're going to go there. Same thing with Chaz Coleman. Like, they believe that he has the chance to go boom, and I think that's why for Coleman, this next 4 months, is really big from a standpoint of Tennessee's got to get their strength coach hired. That guy's got to hit the ground running. Chaz Coleman, if he puts on the proper weight, is going to be a terror come September. So again, good-looking kid, long, lean, athletic, and just has a really good off season, and I think he has a chance to really be dynamite for Tennessee this fall.
You mentioned the interior D-line or D-line in general. Where's Tennessee at with A&M D-lineman Dalen Evans and also LSU's D-lineman Walter Mathis?
In my opinion, it's first in gets the spot, right? Tennessee wants to add another defensive tackle. Both those players were here on Sunday. I don't think there's necessarily a pecking order. I think, Tennessee would like to get one of those done, and whoever would like to take that spot will have the opportunity to take that spot. If neither one wants to do it, then Tennessee will have to, go on the fly and see what defensive tackles they can get in here, starting Thursday when things open back up after the coaches' convention. But obviously, having visited with both of those players, I think Tennessee's primary objective is to get one of those two in the boat. You look at Mathis; he's been a little more productive at LSU than Evans has been at Texas A&M. A&M, a little stronger or a little harder path to the field for Evans. Probably the better looking of the two players, just from a size standpoint. But again, Mathis has been the more productive over their college careers.
Austin, I'm going to be honest with you. I needed a break after you told me the Sorsby package deal that A&M gave him. Like, I knew they were getting bread, but when you threw in the $1 million annuity also, like, it's not just for now. They said
a wheels up deal?
And a wheels up deal?
The wheels up deal, and then you factor in, a bunch of other stuff like the house. Now, the house he's not getting. It's just he just gets to live in it while he's down there. I mean, it's a
no rent.
It's a thing, right? So, I mean, again, hey, listen, if you can get it, go get it. And I think Brendan Sorsby is going to be fantastic, but he still hasn't. He's lost at least 4 games every year. So I mean, it's not like he's on a team that was like a 1 or 2 loss team, and so it's still a bit of a see, kind of throw it up there and see what happens. I mean, there's no roll the ball out and see what transpires. There's no givens in this deal. So for me, again, Levitt battled the injury, coming off of that. Sorsby, has been good, but I wouldn't call it great. I mean, there's no sure things. I mean, again, I think both those guys are super talented and with the right situation can lead a team to a championship, no doubt. But, I don't think it's like some lock that they're just unbelievable. They're just going to be unbelievable.
Austin Price of VolQuest on 3 at Austin Prices, where you get him on Twitter, VolQuest.com. The General's quarters have been popping as the transfer portal has been open. Austin, appreciate the time as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Aus.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us here this morning. Imagine having a wheels up deal for 12 of your closest friends and family to come see you play whatever and wherever they wanted to.
And that's just a little blip of the ink.
And that's just one of the perks.
One of the perks. You know how convenient private jet flying is?
Oh, my gosh. I can't imagine.
It's scary.
I do not know how convenient. I'd love to know how convenient.
I've done it a few times. But
Ooh. Interesting. Yeah, and to Austin's point, the last 2 seasons, there has been a big money quarterback that has announced they're going pro, changed their mind, come back, and gone to a contender. Funny enough, that quarterback has gone to Miami the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Cam Ward, shout out, tighten up, and Carson Beck. Well, Ty Simpson is that this year. He's going pro. Doesn't sound like he's going to take any of these big offers. One of them reportedly is from Tennessee. There doesn't appear to be that top-level quarterback prospect this time. I think Sam Levitt, if he was totally healthy, I think would be that. But the injury, to Austin's point, it maybe isn't a red flag, maybe it's a yellow flag, depending on your opinion of it. But at the very least, it doesn't appear to be the same level of top-tier quarterback talent this time around. We said that last year, too, and John Mateer ended up being pretty good before he got hurt, though. So,
well, look how shoddy it was for DJ Lagway to catch up with all the spring and some of the summer he missed, though, too. That's the only thing you run. I'm not minimizing because if the Vols could have got him, we'd be happy as a lark in here, okay? But you just question, how far behind you are. It's a new system he's got to learn, and timing and everything else. Man, This is a different world right here, man.
It is crazy, isn't it? I mean, it truly.
Ain't, but it is at the same time. Like, they could have, I continually say this, back in 2004, they could have got us for cheap. And I'm glad they're not right now because my kids are coming up. But,
yeah, right.
What a time to be alive, man, if you got some talent out here.
I would have just wanted the Gus's Good Time Deli NIL deal. That would have been enough for me. Grant R. in Blount County sends me a message and says, if you think the Sorsby NIL deal is wild, you should see Austin Price's NIL deal. He says, I am his personal wheels up, but it's a Kia rental car, not a Learjet.
Even better, baby.
Again, I love it that when one of the Volquest guys is on, all of them are listening. Grant R. in Blount County, the best of the best. Coming up, by the way, Grant, could you please fix Tennessee basketball for me? Thanks. New reporting on the next coach to interview with the Titans. Albert Breer giving more details that we'll give to you coming up next. The best financial move you can make this time of year? How about lowering your mortgage rate to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by calling Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Will Bowling. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, wiped out their credit cards and 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait. No hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. So act now. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out all higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 615-499-5780 and see how much cash you can get today. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Ramona Will rolls on, wrapping up hour 3. Glad to have Austin Price as always. Vols fans, if you missed it, check out the podcast channel at the end of the show. A lot of nuggets, a lot of breakdowns, a lot of good stuff as always from Austin. Albert Breer on Twitter, SI.com, with more details on Titans interview schedules. I guess it'd be good if I had this tweet pulled up, wouldn't it be?
What you got for me, Will?
Well, I don't have anything for you until I have it pulled up. There it is.
Yeah.
Pause. The Titans are interviewing Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter and Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley for their head coach job today. They'll interview ex-Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel and Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith tomorrow. There you go. More details on the timeline for coaches.
I coming out of this season, I knew teams had their issues, and certain teams would go in different directions. I did not see or didn't know for sure that Cleveland will let go of Stefanski. Nobody had it on their radar that Baltimore will let go of Harbaugh. I'm wondering if Miami jumped the gun by seeing Harbaugh being gone and said this is our opportunity to, and fired Coach McDaniel, Mike McDaniel. That was fascinating. I looked at Arizona's job and said, oh, it'll be fine. They got, in the building issues. Vegas, Pete Carroll, writing was on the wall as bad as the season was going. Pete didn't look outdated, just looked like he's been outcoached, and the team wasn't structured well enough for him on the field. I didn't expect, Will, again, this many openings at all this cycle.
All right, so these are all the interview requests the Titans have put out there. Mike Herndon, shout out. At Mike Herndon SK1 put this out there. These are all of the people that the Titans have requested to talk to. All right. If I tried to hold my breath and do all this in one breath, I would be purple in the face. Matt Nagy, Vance Joseph, Steve Spagnuolo, Lou Anarumo, Raheem Morris, Kevin Stefanski, Jason Garrett, Jeff Hafley, Arthur Smith, Robert Saleh, Cliff Kingsbury, Jesse Minter, Chris Shula, John Harbaugh, Mike McCarthy, Mike McDaniel, Jonathan Gannon, Brian Dable, and, of course, interim head coach Mike McCoy. That's the full list of interview requests from your Tennessee Titans.
That's 19.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin makes 20.
No news on that yet.
No news on that yet.
I do want to hear from this Aaron Rodgers stuff in just a minute. We could do that to start the fourth hour before Steve Palazolo stops by, talking about how the NFL has changed and how some of these guys have become available that in past years would not have become available, like when Aaron Rodgers started playing. What do you think is the biggest benefit to the Titans interviewing 19 people in their first round of interviews to be the next head coach?
The building of a staff. I think that's the biggest advantage. Clearly you're interested in a head coaching job, but if you don't get this, can we be in contact with one another is what you ask a Brian Daboll. You know what I'm saying? You ask a Robert Saleh, how attached are you to San Francisco? Why the move? Is it only for a head coaching job, or will you make it you can at least get that intimate with those guys in that moment? Because if you can increase your salary or increase your role with a team, like Robert Saleh might go from defensive coordinator to assistant head coach here with the title too. Not saying that that's the case, but you at least grab that a part of your resume moving forward. And if you're moving the locations, you got to get a pay increase too.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is the biggest advantage? That's 19 people. At some point, it's got to be you got to round it off at 20.
Well, I think it's filling out a staff. I think it's understanding how the league feels about who you already have in-house. How the league feels about the ways they would fix your organization and spend your money this offseason. What are the common threads in the pitches that you expected or didn't expect on, let's say, how you'd spend free agent money?
That's a great point.
How many offensive coaches feel like they have plans you like for Cam Ward? How many defensive coaches bring up potential staffs they would hire and offensive guys? That to me is what I would have on a notepad in names of coaches. And I would want a tally mark next to how many times they got brought up. How many different defensive-minded head coaches are bringing up, and I'd call Mike McDaniel. and I'd call ... Does that open the door then in future conversations to where maybe not it's this time around where you would want, I don't know, pass game coordinator in LA that's getting some interviews now. Shalassi, I think is how you say his name. Like, what talent can you identify that maybe isn't on your radar today? That, let's just say hypothetically, Jeff Hafley gets the job and Cliff Kingsbury is offensive coordinator. I'm just picking two names. Yeah. What if Cliff crushes it and gets a head coach job in 27? Well, did you learn about a guy that's not on your radar right now who could be a potential staff guy that maybe Jesse Minter would have liked from his time in the AFC West? Well, can you then go call that guy in 2027? Next offseason to be in the mix for your offensive coordinator job? Like, you're just building a Rolodex and you're building a file on, it may not immediately serve you. It might serve you the next time you're looking for a coordinator to say, hey, I remember when we met with Lou Anarumo and he talked really well about the linebackers coach in Cincinnati. And again, I'm not talking about anyone specific. I'm just throwing out random names and positions. There's no consequence other than maybe the coffee budget over at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park is higher because you're in a lot of meetings. Right. And the internet bill is a bit high. I don't know. Like, there's no negative. Why not?
No, absolutely is not.
You're not in a hurry. You can't meet with anybody in person who's currently employed till next Monday. So you're not in a huge rush to hire anybody. So be open-minded, talk to as many people as you can, and see what you can learn.
See what you can learn about yourself.
For sure. 615-737-1045. Aaron Rodgers had an interesting thing to say last night about one way the NFL is different today than when he started playing. And I think it's relevant to the Titans. You'll hear from the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Jewel Roofing and Exteriors, man. You're probably wondering, who, Ramon, is Jewel Roofing? Well, I'm here to tell you this. Jewel Roofing and Exteriors, they have been family-owned and locally trusted for 25-plus years, man. They're proudly based here in Middle Tennessee, and they serve in communities everywhere from Clarksville to Murfreesboro. Yes, that's north to south. They will come to your house. Robbie Van Norman, man, is the owner, man. He and his family live right here in our community, actually in Hendersonville, man, and they want to be here. They're in this community. They want to service you folks who can trust them. They're local, they're licensed and experienced, and not just some out-of-town crew either. And here's the thing about Jewel Roofing. They don't knock on doors or chase storms. Instead, they build relationships. They want to educate the homeowners and earn referrals through trust. Jewel Roofing Exteriors is a long-term partner in protecting your home and not a quick fix that disappears at all, man. They can do a free inspection on your home if you see early signs or have questions about it. They personally did it to mine. So they walked on my roof, saw an issue, man, fixed it for me, and boom, that was it. I asked them how long on my roof lasted. They told me I was good. And I believe them because they're a very trustworthy group, man. Listen to them. You can go to jewelroofing.com. That's Jewel Roofing with 2 L's.com.
9:03, good morning. Live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio, I'm Justin Hawkins. In Titans news this morning, per Jordan Schultz, the Titans will interview former Giants head coach Brian Daboll for their open head coaching job on Friday. It's the first known NFL head coaching interview for Daboll. Today, the Titans will interview Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley, who also will meet with the Falcons, Dolphins, Raiders, and Cardinals later this week. Wildcard weekend of the NFL playoffs wrapped up last night as the Texans, behind 2 defensive touchdowns, rout the Steelers 30-6, getting their first road playoff win in franchise history, also claiming the final spot in the divisional round. Texans defense smothering the Steelers offense, allowing just 175 total yards of offense in what could have been Aaron Rodgers' last NFL game. And in Vols transfer portal news this morning, safety help is on the way as Tennessee has signed junior Michigan safety transfer TJ Metcalf, who finished 2025 with 58 tackles and an interception as a starter. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of your Tuesday morning starts right here on Ramon and Will. Glad you are with us. Hope you're having a good start to your morning. We've hit a little bit of everything today. Texans, Steelers, Titans head coach search, the John Harbaugh sweepstakes, heck, Tennessee and transfer portal and quarterback, all of it right here on the show. Podcast feed is open for our audio, open for you to subscribe at the end of the show as well. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins. Steve Palazolo will share his perspective on the Titans head coach search coming up in 15 minutes. Always great to have Steve on.
Mm-hmm.
Check the mic. Check that out wherever you download podcasts as well. Wanted to hear from Aaron Rodgers. Well, that's a statement I don't say a lot. Wanted to hear from Aaron Rodgers after last night's Steelers loss to the Houston Texans. This is really, Ramon, a question you asked Tyler Dunn yesterday that I thought was a really good question. And I think it's got a lot of valid answers to it. Why are so many coaches that are proven winners getting fired? And Mike Tomlin, who might join those ranks today, this was Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers yesterday.
I mean, this league has changed a lot in my 21 years. When you hear a conversation about the Mike Tomlins of the world, Matt LaFleur's of the world. Those are just two that kind of I played for. And when I first got in the league, there wouldn't be conversation about whether those guys were on the hot seat. But the way that the league is covered now and the way that there's snap decisions and the validity given to the Twitter experts and all the experts on TV now who make it seem like they know what the hell they're talking about. To me, that's an absolute joke. And for either of those two guys to be on the hot seat is really apropos of where we're at as a society and a league, because obviously Matt's done a lot of great things in Green Bay and we had a lot of success. Mike T has had more success than damn near anybody in the league, for the last 19, 20 years. And more than that, though, when you have the right guy and the culture is right, you don't think about making a change. But there's a lot of pressure that comes from the outside, and obviously that sways decisions from time to time, but it's not how I would do things and not how the league used to be.
It's Aaron Rodgers last night after his Steelers lost to the Texans. Ramon, did you agree about media coverage impacting coach security in professional football?
I brought it up when I was giving the selling point. Well, it was an amendment after the fact.
When you're selling the Titans earlier this morning.
Yeah, selling the Titans, yeah. It is. There's like voices get loud with everybody having these 160 characters. Depending on if you're paying for the blue check, you get more. Longer videos. Well, that's crucial. That's the reason we're having sports psychiatrists talk to players. Every team now, also just on a player level, will, I think, have sports psychiatrists. They got counselors on teams that they can talk to. These coaches, like I said, we all say we don't hear. We don't hear. You and I do a public job, and we get random tweets at us. You guys suck. You might search your name. Like, I can't listen to those. Like, that happens to coaches, too. Like, that outside pressures Aaron Rodgers is speaking of somebody that owns a podcast or a network of their own, or heck, 104.5 The Zone. We criticize and critique and, go at people, too. It's a matter of what your franchise is willing to hear and see as being truthful, too, versus the way somebody that don't make any franchise decisions, can't understand why you played this player over that player or set this guy, have a say-so in your day-to-day dealings, which is why I put number one on my list of why or how you will sell the Titans. I put the ability to work with football minds number one. That's why I think Coach Tomlin's lasted so long. Is because he's in a position as a coach where they know at the end of the day, when you close them doors at South 3400 Water Street in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the facility, only thing that matters is what happens inside of that building. It's just like, I'm sure Coach Vrabel, before he got let go here, he understood there were certain things that we need to fix in order to be the team that I wanted to be. I'm sure Omar Khan in Pittsburgh understands that to be the case too. Like, yeah, we were hanging on by a thread with the 42-year-old quarterback, aging wide receivers, a young roster, an old roster with not a whole lot of development. Aaron Rodgers is 100% correct on that one. Imagine that being the case. And some people say, well, you're, what the kids like to say, you're capping for your coach or you're only standing up for him. Like, no, sometimes people deserve to kind of see it through. I always go back to the Coach Fulmer conversation when he was let go. A lot of Vols fans think, yes, it was time for big man to go. And maybe it was. But you didn't have a plan in place that was really going to lend itself success. And now here we are attached to a friggin' idiot in LSU because of a one-year dating cycle, again, that continues to troll you. Like, I'd much rather not have the University of Tennessee associated with Lane Kiffin. I would. But because everybody wanted something new, got tired of Coach Fulmer, and felt like this is the great pathway to go, you were stuck in 10, 15 years of football purgatory with a sprinkle of 1 or 2 seasons.
And in terms of social media, that's back when you still had to have a university email address to have Facebook.
You know what I'm saying?
That was still pre-social media pressure being a part of this equation.
What was the conversation back then, though, too, was the boosters, right? Like, yeah. And now it's social media.
I think first and foremost, we got to remember one of the mottos of this show. It's hard to be boring and bad.
That's so real.
And unfortunately right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't bad, but in the context of postseason football and playoff football, they are boring. Mm-hmm. There's just no way around it. They're a really good defensive team. Your job, number one, as a head coach or a GM, is not to make your team fun. It's to make your team good. So let's get that straight first and foremost, that it's not your job to be entertaining first and foremost. But it is certainly something that buys you more time.
Yep.
So I think that's number one. I do think Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs and their reign in the AFC has made some owners a little bit less patient and a little bit more desperate. I do. Do I think Patrick Mahomes is the number one reason why these good coaches are getting let go? No. I do think it's a part of it, specifically for the AFC, but not all these coaches that are on the hot seat are in the AFC. Matt LaFleur doesn't have to go through Kansas City. He's got to go through Philly and Detroit and San Francisco.
Chicago now.
100%. To me, it's a mixture of where we are. I agree with what Aaron says as society. It's a mixture of Mahomes. It's a mixture of we are less content with good, just as a rule in the human condition in 2026. It's not a uniquely NFL issue either. We're having conversations about Dan Lanning, Ramon, at Oregon that I think are crazy. About how he can never win the big game and he's never going to be. What are you talking about? Look at how long it took Kirby Smart to win his first national championship. And that guy was not only knocking on the door, he opened the door and just couldn't walk through it until 2nd and 26 happened in Atlanta from Tua Tagovailoa to Devontae Smith. The amount of things you've got to have go right to win a Super Bowl are crazy. Tennessee had to have a phantom pass interference, bully, against Syracuse. A guy take a knee and slip and fumble the football. A quarterback get hurt in another conference just to have the chance to play Florida State in the national championship game, who, oh, by the way, also had their own kind of quarterback issues and changes the way I remember it. I didn't have their starting quarterback but by that point. Like, so much has to go right that's out of your control to win a championship. And I think that we as a society now in sports are so much more championship or bust than we've ever been before.
Is it because of the participation trophies that everybody gets rewarded?
I don't think it's just one thing. I just think there are a lot of different factors that have brought us to where we are today.
Is it innovation and advancement in sports? Because you mentioned these things like these coaches, these younger coaches, these, LaFleur's.
Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan are the best two examples.
But here's the thing.
Perennial winners.
Whatever happened to the coaching world, slow walking coaches in these positions? Like, right now,
great question.
There's a 30-year-old who's about to get ahead. I think is it Jacksonville's passing coordinator, if I'm not mistaken? Rams. 30 years old, that's about to get a head coach interview.
Nate Shalassi. I don't know how to say his last name, but that's my guess.
Why? I don't want to ask why, because if you're,
McVay?
There are grandmasters that are chess players at like 12 years old. So, like, you are where you are mentally, right? But
sure.
You mean to tell me a 30-year-old is ready to tell a veteran football player what to do and how to manage his day-to-day life as a pro? Like, what happened to the steps to be a head coach?
Yeah.
Coach Mack speaks about his opportunities given. This was years after he jumped in the game.
Yep. That's a great point. I think it's easier than ever for owners to hear criticism from fans. And I think, too, it doesn't hurt again. Again, it's not the biggest reason, but I think it's part of it. A lot of these teams are building new buildings. A lot of these teams are building new stadiums. You got to put people in those new seats. Again, not the number one reason. I think it's part of it. There is a facilities arms race going on in the National Football League right now. I don't think that's nothing.
But we're selling buildings, not football, if that's the case, though.
Yeah, you're selling good football to put in those buildings.
That's just a wild, to your point of why so many coaches are out right now, are hitting the streets. Not everybody's going to find Sean McVay.
You are seeing a real-time changing of the guard happen for head coaches in the National Football League, from the Harbaughs and Tomlins to the McVays and Shanahans. Problem is, for every McVay, there's a Mike McDaniel or a Jonathan Gannon.
Or Robert Saleh the first time.
Or a Brian Callahan. Coming up, Steve Palazolo of the 33rd team joins us. Are the Titans a legit contender for John Harbaugh? And if not, who else should they be closely looking at? Steve Palazolo joins us next. January is a great time to clean, to purge. We make healthy choices. We make good choices. Well, why don't you treat your home the same way? Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friends at Zero Res. We shouldn't treat our homes any differently than we treat ourselves, right? If we make a resolution to help our own selves get to the gym, work out, maybe we need to make that same resolution to live healthier, to clean your home with the very best technology out there, the very best science out there. I'm talking about ZR Water. And Zero Res is cleaning agents that are much healthier than using soaps or detergents to clean. Zero Res is a smarter, lasting clean. There's no harsh chemicals, no soap residue, faster dry times. Things are going to stay cleaner longer. You got to get Zero Res out there to have your home looking spotless. Call them now, 615-535-9376, or just check out the Google reviews, the Facebook reviews. They are excellent. You can book online at ZeroResNashville.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. 615-535-9376. And don't forget to ask about their air duct cleaning. Hour 4 of Ramon and Will continues. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling. Titans head coach search continues, and there are 18 names on the list of requested interviews that they just added Brian Dable to this morning. Joining us to break it all down, talk about John Harbaugh and the Titans a little bit as well. Steve Palazolo of the 33rd Team. Check the mic wherever you download podcasts. A must listen if you are a Titans fan. What's up, Steve? Good morning.
Morning, Steve.
Good. Hey, how you doing, guys? Good to be back with you guys.
It's great to have you back on. Do you think the Titans have a legitimate shot, Steve, at John Harbaugh? What about the fit potentially makes sense?
Well, I mean, for Harbaugh in particular, having Cam Ward, having the young quarterback, and I think that's, a fit for him. And then for Harbaugh, I think you don't get many opportunities in the NFL to see a coach win with multiple quarterbacks. And obviously we've seen Harbaugh win a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco, have one of the best teams in the league with Lamar Jackson. So John Harbaugh, I think, is a fit for everyone because he's had a lot of success, extended success, and, pretty much had one of the best teams in the league, for over a decade. So I think it's a good fit, and it's a strange time that there's this many, call them coveted head coaches potentially available here.
Steve Palazolo, 33rd Team with us. How much does Cam Ward's development over the second half of this season, Steve, change the overall attractiveness of this job to you?
I mean, it's a big factor. I think the other piece that I just keep harping on is the run of defenses that they've played against. Not even the whole team, but we just saw what the Texans did last night. The fact that he had to play the Texans twice, the Seahawks, the Jags twice, some of the run of defenses that they went up against and undermanned, right, with young receivers, receiver injuries. It was really a difficult run. I mean, it's the type of run that if you look back on a playoff team, you'd be like, man, they're battle tested headed into the playoffs. So the Titans are battle tested heading into the offseason. But yeah, I think the development is key. I thought Cam Ward using his legs a little bit more, looking a little bit more comfortable, always showing flashes of the special. And I think you definitely have something to build upon. And for all of especially the offensive-minded coaches, are going to look at that and say, absolutely, we've got something to work with here. Love the way it progressed.
We're joined by Steve Palazolo of the 33rd Team, and also check out the podcast. Check the mic also. Steve, what is when you look at this job also, is just the conversation outside the city is always the front office, man. How is a guy in your position right now, the way you view him with Mike Borgonzi in this position as GM doing this coaching search?
Yeah, I mean, I think we haven't really gotten to see what Borgonzi and it's really him and everybody that they've added, all of the former GMs and consultants. I mean, I know they're just getting this entire process in place. So I think it's an exciting, somewhat clear slate to build from, right? The other part of the attractiveness, I would say, is what the Bears and Patriots have just done, which is take a second-year quarterback who was in a difficult position in year one. I mean, there's going to be so many similarities. That's how we all think, right? Here's this thing I saw last year, so let's project it forward into next year. The Bears overhauled their offensive line, their defensive line in an offseason. The Patriots drafted well and then overhauled both sides of the ball really in free agency between the corners that they brought in, Stephon Diggs, Milton Williams. And so the Titans, the attractiveness there when you have a first contract quarterback, when you have money to spend, I mean, those things usually coincide, right? When you look at the biggest spenders the last couple of years, it's all teams with QBs on first contract quarterbacks. And then you say, okay, this will be the first real full year of Mike Borgonzi, right? When you hire somebody at the beginning of the draft process, it's really a full year draft process, right? The draft starts in, May or June and then culminates the following April. So now you've got your first year of the full process of Borgonzi, of that entire group that they brought in. So I think that's part of the excitement is you just have so many different paths that you can take. Unlike other teams that are, a little hamstrung by the cap, they're going to be more getting rid of players rather than adding. So I think there's a lot to like about Tennessee because you've got to shape both sides of the ball and you have plenty of draft capital and money to do it.
We're joined by Steve Palazolo. Steve, when it comes down to the view of this coaching search for the entire NFL teams that don't have a head coach right now, The big conversation as far as the white whale is concerned, and that's John Harbaugh, it's Giants and Falcons or anybody but Tennessee. Steve, how do you view these available jobs into how you see a guy like John Harbaugh, or I guess another hot coach could be Mike McDaniel, choosing to side, or Stefanski also picking a team?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because obviously I think a lot of people think John Harbaugh is the most coveted coach, and he just left the most coveted job in Baltimore. So that's a factor, right? You could have someone like Kevin Stefanski available for the Ravens job, and it's going to feel like, man, this dude failed upward, right? He went from Cleveland to Baltimore. The Giants' job is attractive, I think, in a similar way as the Titans, just because Jackson Dart showed so much promise as a rookie as well. And you already have his wide receiver one, even though he's coming off injury. You already have an elite pass rusher, because you could stack the Giants and Titans jobs and say, okay, rookie quarterback with some, with a positive rookie season, especially Dart. And then, the Titans, do they really have a receiver one? Do they really have a top pass rusher? Not really. We have to get that. The Giants already have that. And so I think that makes it attractive. The Falcons one's interesting because, again, they have a pretty decent nucleus of players there. They've just underachieved over these last couple of years. And then I think we all know behind the scenes, as far as attractiveness goes, it's at the end of the day, it's a business. And in business, there's a boss, and the boss has some level of control, has all the control if he or she wants it, or they have a little bit of control and they cede that control, right? So that's how it works. And so when it comes to attractiveness of the job, especially for a guy like John Harbaugh, or maybe a Stefanski who's been around for a while and he can maybe pick his favorite spot, it's going to come down to how much, push and pull is there between the general manager and ownership. So I think that's going to be a huge factor in a lot of these final coaching decisions.
Steve Palazolo of the 33rd Team, and check the Mike podcast with himself and Sam Monson, wherever you download podcasts, our guest this morning. Steve, what's the ideal system for Cam Ward to fit in? We've talked about the fit with Kevin Stefanski's wide zone offense and kind of the offshoot of the Shanahan system. There's Clint Kubiak, who's not even really been linked to this job or requested, which has been maybe a little bit of a surprise. There's obviously Mike McCarthy, Mike McDaniel, and his version of that system. Do you see a fit like a glove for Cam Ward? Who do you think could maybe get the most out of his talent?
Man, it's a good question. I'm not sure I have a perfect picture of that. Sure. Because the system thing, I think when you're breaking down the systems around the NFL, there's usually it's really homogenized, right? Like most of the league runs similar stuff, and then you have some extreme outliers, like what Lamar and the Ravens have always done has been at the extreme outlier. And Kubiak is really an extreme outlier because he's running, it's not an archaic offense as far as this is what his dad ran, but it's similar as it's a low volume, high play action, high running attempts type of offense, which you just don't see as often. But I think for Cam, whether it's Stefanski, whether it's a guy like Clint Kubiak, whether it's Mike McDaniel, the key there is going to be get him winning within structure just more consistently. I've had this conversation years ago with Deshaun Watson when he was good back in Houston. You always tried to find that balance. With Russell Wilson, you tried to find that balance. There was a point in Aaron Rodgers' career where I think you tried to find that balance where Rodgers didn't trust the system enough. And this is when he was still good. He just didn't trust the system enough and just tried to rely on his arm and his athleticism. I think that's going to be the key for Cam Ward is, and Caleb Williams is going through it right now too. I mean, Caleb Williams can't just wait until the fourth quarter to just, become a superstar every single game. He's got to hit some gimmies. He's got to trust the system and take what's there. So I think wherever it lands, that's the biggest thing for me with Cam Ward is more consistent, hit the top of the drop, get the ball out, and then when it's time, show that you can run around, make plays, create something late in the down, use his legs. I keep harping on, man, he can run. And whether it's a couple design runs per game or just scrambling at the right time, I want Cam Ward using his legs more often when it's time to win, right? When you feel like this roster is ready to start making a move. And so that's the biggest key for me, I think, is finding that balance where he's not playing hero ball all the time and only pulling out hero ball when it's necessary.
Steve Palazolo, 33rd team with us. Steve, of the defensive coordinator candidates, I'm interested in Jeff Hafley's ability to talk about what didn't go right once Micah Parsons got hurt for that Green Bay defense. Interested in Chris Shula as a strong candidate, and he's got his pick as well of some top jobs. And then Robert Saleh in there as well. Is there one of those guys, and even throwing Lou Anarumo as an option, I guess, too, because he's interviewed. Is there a separator there? Like, how do you classify taking away, yes, there's good schemes, there's good leadership, there's all these things, but also some of these guys are given really good defensive players to coach that a lot of guys could succeed with. Do you have a favorite kind of those defensive options?
Yeah, I'm usually very cautious to not pick one coach over the other because we really don't know. So much of the job is behind the scenes. It's being a CEO. Let me preface it with that. But I really like Robert Saleh in this case for a couple reasons here. I think the second chance head coach is just a fascinating thing, right? I think Matt Nagy's on like his redemption tour right now, right? He's doing all these interviews and he's like, here's what I learned from the first time around. And I feel like that's more accepted in the NFL, right? Here's your second chance. But Saleh's interesting, similar to, say, Dan Quinn getting a second chance, because I think they both had some level of success. Saleh had success relative to, say, the Jets. But like Dan Quinn, goes back to being a defensive coordinator. And that's an impressive job that Saleh's doing with the 49ers. They have zero talent on that side of the ball. They've got some feisty young players in the secondary, but they are like that defensive line on paper might be the 31st or 32nd best defensive line. And we know how important that is. We just saw what the Texans did. We see what the Seahawks do. We see what the Broncos do. Saleh's playing with one hand tied behind his back, and they are still fighting and scrapping and getting the job done. It's not great, but they're getting the job done defensively. I think that combined with a little bit of the dysfunction of the Jets and what they had to deal with makes Saleh more attractive as a second chance head coach and a guy that I think is a very good defensive coach and has done it. He's doing it right now with the Niners. He did it back in 2019 with the Niners when I didn't think it was the best on-field talent, but he just got them to play above their level. So I think that's the most attractive one. All the other guys, Shula and Anarumo, it's still a TBD, right? We've never seen them in a head coaching position, but they've done a nice job across their opportunities on defense. But Saleh is really interesting to me as giving him a second chance.
Steve, when you look at just this pool of coaches that are head coaches now in the NFL and the ones that you speak of that are getting opportunities, we were talking about the 30-year-old with the Rams, that is, Will, you said is getting a Shalasky who's
however
getting
you say it.
interviews. What I'm asking is, what makes a good coach and what keeps them in their jobs as we're watching the scrutiny be more publicized now? And the pressure of being the next Sean McVay is immense. I think that's why you have Mike McDaniel that's out in Miami because he didn't live up to that billing. So who or what is a good coach in today's NFL? Well, they'll just fire you quickly.
You'll hear coaches say all the time, we're problem solvers. And I think that's the biggest key. I mean, Sean McVay in 2017 hits the league by storm. Jared Goff goes from looking like this dude might be the worst number one overall pick ever in 2016. And then in 2017, with no preseason action, all of a sudden Goff is good. And by 2018, they're in the Super Bowl. But at the end of 2018, McVay's system had kind of been found out a little bit. Vic Fangio crushed him late in the season. Belichick crushed him in the Super Bowl. And McVay had to start adjusting, right? So that's why when we talk about system, you can't just bring in a coach because, he's got good plays, because the NFL adjusts to those plays. And then you need different types of plays, and you have to adjust, and you've got different personnel. So the ability to problem solve and change on the fly. So now McVay's offense looks nothing like it did 7 years ago. If you look at Belichick's tenure, the fact that their offense and defense, they were man-heavy, they were zone-heavy, they ran two tight ends, they ran spread, they did it all, right? So that's the key. Now, finding who that guy is, good luck. I don't know how you do that in the interview process, right? Hey, when the league, you're gonna be awesome for 2 years, then the league's gonna figure you out. How are you gonna adjust, right? You can't really predict that in an interview situation. But that's what makes a good head coach, is the ability to win in multiple ways. And then at the end of the day, you're a CEO. You're not just a play caller, right? So you're the CEO that needs to inspire 53 players plus, coach your coaches, develop coaches. And that's what you're dealing with, let's say, Nick Sirianni with the Eagles. It's like every other year they have a good group of assistant coaches and they're in the Super Bowl. And then the off years, they're losing in the wild card round because it seems like they can't get out of their own way offensively. So the ability to be consistent, get the right people around you, that's the biggest key in a head coaching search. And, good luck picking through 18 candidates to see who that guy definitely is. It's really tough to predict it.
Oh, I count it as 19 now. Palazolo.
19.
Yeah.
Crazy.
19. All right. So, Steve, you've watched this team. You watched Cam. You watched this team last year, too. We've even had you in studio here a time or two when you're in town. And you've gone to training camp. You said you've given your answer on what's a good coach. Let me ask you this. What made Brian Callahan, who was hot, or Bobby Slowick, who was fire hot up until this last year, bad coaches, man? And it's not to disparage them, but what mistakes, in your opinion, being at training camp here in Nashville, watching the games, watching Will Levis, watching Cam Ward, what made them bad, in your opinion?
Well, Bobby's my buddy, so I'm not going to call him bad yet.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm just kidding.
He went from head coaching candidate to senior passing advisor with the Dolphins. But you get my point. Yeah.
I know, of course. I'm just joking around. You guys are my friends, too. I'm just going to say, I would be very wary of any coach who's attached to an elite quarterback for their success. I would just start there. I mean, there's just not a great history. Look at the entire Bill Belichick tree and every single coach, offensive or defensive. I mean, Bill O'Brien had some success without Brady, but there's not much. There's not much success outside of being attached to Tom Brady. Sean Payton's doing it right now without Drew Brees, which is really impressive, I think, for Payton's resume, but he had never done it to this. Like, we'd never seen him without Drew Brees. Matt Nagy without Patrick Mahomes, right? When the ascent coincides with the elite quarterback, I'd be a little wary of that. So that's not Bobby. That would be Callahan, right? That's part of the issue there. And then the other part is with a Bobby Slowick, it's like he had one great year calling plays with a rookie CJ Stroud, and then all of a sudden he's getting head coaching jobs. And that might just be a societal issue, right? Mm-hmm. It's like here's the latest thing that we just saw. This guy learned from Kyle Shanahan, and look at what he did with Stroud. Get this man a head coaching job. And it's just a different job. Like, head coach and offensive coordinator are different jobs. And then, like I said, it makes a good coach, being able to problem solve. Like, Slowick had 2 years as offensive coordinator, and he was great first. The league adjusted a little bit. They attacked his protections, and he didn't adjust back. I mean, that's just the truth. So you didn't even have time to see them in their element. So I don't know if Bobby is a bad coach or if Callahan's a bad coach, so to speak. But you don't get the opportunity to always show it, that you can adjust. And so that's just the nature of the game. Wow. And so I think that's where you are. So just be careful of hey, this guy called great plays for a year. Get this man in a head coaching job, because it doesn't always work that way. You still have to see them. That's where it comes back down to, like, experience, in the same way, it seems like you see a college quarterback with 30 or 40 starts rather than 20, because you've just seen more football. You've seen them in more situations, and you can have a little bit more confidence in what they are when you project them forward.
Steve Palazolo, our guest this morning, at Steve Palazolo _ where you get him on Twitter. Him and Sam crush it, talking about the NFL. Great stuff as always this morning. Steve, you always make us smarter. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Steve Palazolo with us this morning, breaking down the Titans head coaching search. All right, final headlines as we get out of here and wrap up the show. Coming up next. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the show as interview requests come in and coaches interview with teams left and right. Brian Flores. Expected to speak with the Washington Commanders. I believe, Ramon, that's only the second team that has asked for Flores.
Surprising. I think, of course, to his legal, it ain't issues for him. His case that he has against the league kind of sets that up why people are kind of hands off with him. But
yes,
I think he's a football mind. Now, he also has to be the type of coach I think you want for your team. I don't think he's into smoothing over his edges at all.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a negative. I just think it's the reality of who he is.
You better know what you're getting yourself into.
Commanders bringing him in to talk about defensive coordinator. Since his contract is up in Minnesota, he is able to look at other similar jobs.
Isn't Dan Quinn a defensive guy?
Yes.
Oh, well, Quinn?
Yes.
Sir, fix it. Where's Felix at? Fix it, Felix.
So still only one team has requested Brian Flores for a head coaching interview, the Baltimore Ravens.
DC could be good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there are a lot of questions on the lawsuit that have got to be answered. And again, there are some teams that are a part of that. That are being, I wouldn't say targeted. That's not the right word, but have to answer to his lawsuit. And there are some teams that are not. It does not include all 32 teams, the way I understand.
I would say winning cures all. In those moments, if he proves to be good. And for Minnesota, he has been, I feel like.
I would agree. Tennessee adding Michigan safety TJ Metcalf. I talked with Austin Price earlier this morning, tended to maybe hint at the fact that maybe there could be some outgoings with all of the incomings that Tennessee has had.
And they got 4 days left in this window, right? This portal window?
To enter the window, correct. Yes. So we are currently in a dead period of taking visits, but teams can still reach out to players over the phone. They just can't have them visiting right now until Thursday. I mean, we're living in a world right now where teams are telling guys not to publicly commit. Mm-hmm. That way guys on their own roster won't transfer out, or teams won't be able to counter if they know that there's something to counter. Like, I think there's a lot of business going on that Pete Nakos doesn't even have, and I say that with all due respect, because Pete Nakos is the preeminent insider on the portal and is crushing it, by the way, from the city of Nashville, where he is based out of. So that's not a slight to Nakos. It's just the reality of the business, Ramon, that, like, if I'm a coach and I want a safety, but I also want the guy that just played safety for me last year to stay on campus so I can build some kind of depth and actually have a backup that's played a little bit in my uniform and in my facility and knows the way around all that stuff. I'm telling my new guys, like, hey, can you
hold on to this?
Can you wait till the 17th to publicly commit? That way, maybe some of my guys stick around. Thanks.
Yeah, no, it's a thing, but that's also what happens when you don't have contracts that are, foolproof as far as guys having binded. Yeah, to be to just transfer out. Also, there is a case in which it did happen though too. I'm not sure if it's the Missouri edge rusher, but I know
Damon Wilson.
The Washington Huskies quarterback got told, no, sir.
Javon Williams.
You cannot. You just signed a deal, and you have to stay here with us.
Well, he needs his advance to the next one, too. They know he ain't going to be around.
No, he ain't going to be around. Like, seriously. But that's just
a quote from a Drake album for those unfamiliar.
I mean, legitimately, he ain't going to be around if he's already teasing right now to hop into the portal.
He's back now.
Yeah, he is, and he ain't got no choice. More teams, I think, will do those things moving forward.
Yeah.
I feel like South Carolina's just beating everybody else to the punch by re-signing their guys, though.
They are, and I mean, what stops an athlete from getting around that contract? Just being like, all right, well, I'll just unenroll in school and re-enroll somewhere else. Like, you can do a lot of things. The biggest winner continues to be lawyers. Billable hours are undefeated. I don't know. I talked to a lot of buddies and people that went to UT. They're like, man, I'm just out on college sports. Like, I'm out on all this. Mm-hmm. Man, if we had the money Texas Tech does, we wouldn't be out on any of it.
I mean, it's there.
The hierarchy's just changing.
I mean, the Haslam's got Pilot.
Tennessee's got money. There's no doubt. You also have to stick to your guns, and if you got red flags about Sam Levitt's foot, May not be willing to pay Sam Levitt $6 million. Maybe they were. I don't know. Back at it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Coaching Search will roll on. Rhett Bryan will be here to break it all down. Plus, we're going to look at the divisional round of the postseason. Talk about some matchups. Who knows what'll break today? Maybe Mike Tomlin will be available.
I hear that breaking
tomorrow
sounder.
morning. Right as soon as we go off air?
Team meeting is usually at 1.
Okay, well.
So it'll be
Stay tuned.
12 o'clock here.
Heads on swivels, Blaine and Zach. Back at it. Talk to you tomorrow morning.
But remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic always hot, baby.